Or did he?
This
Hello?
just feels like the
Hi.
Brady Bunch to me.
Fun, huh? Well, at least you're working indoor and not outdoor. That's a good thing.
J'ai loué le milieu, hein.
Oh. To another restaurant or?
Peut-être qu'il y a plus tard.
Okay. Big secret. You shouldn't have to wear glasses with a mask. It's a challenge.
Well, how come I can only see the mayor and you all and myself?
I don't know, Leo. Do you have it on at the top of the screen? It probably says, hold on.
View or something, Leon.
Okay, yeah, review, start video, share content, participants. That's all I see. On the right corner? There's more?
You have a share screen?
Oh, yeah, okay, just a sec.
You talking to Leo?
I don't know. Participant, let's see, I'll go with more.
Past 6:30 and we're live.
Okay. Well, I want to say good evening, everyone. Welcome to our virtual council Zoom meeting. Bienvenue à notre réunion de conseil virtuel. Are there any declaration of pecuniary interest? Aucune déclaration d'intérêt pécuniaire? None? So we're ready to adopt the agenda?
Can I add a mover and a seconder, please?
Leo?
Chris? It is moved by Councillor Mallette and seconded by Councillor Fisher. Be it resolved that the agenda for the meeting of council held on October 20th, 2020 be adopted as presented.
Okay, and I just want to remind everyone that we received additional information for community services, the West Nipissing Snowmobile Club Trail, and also under planning E7, the information regarding the petition, that is where it's going to be discussed. Donc, l'information additionnelle que nous avons reçue pour item D2A, à ce qui traite le club de motoneige de Nipissing West, et la pétition pour item E7 sous planification, et où est-ce que la discussion va avoir lieu pour cette information-là. Any objection?
No.
Mayor, I think you're on mute.
You're kidding me, and no one said nothing. Okay, just very quickly pertaining to the agenda, I made reference that we received additional information for the Snowmobile Club under D2A Community Services and additional information, the petition regarding planning E7. Donc, ça va être à ces deux items-là où qu'on va introduire l'information additionnelle qui nous a été présentée. Are there any objections pertaining to the agenda? None? Carried, adopté. So on procède avec le premier comité, mesures d'urgence, sécurité publique, emergency measures and public safety. And I'll pass it on to the chair, Councillor Chris.
Thank you. The first order of business is a big one, and it seems to be a moving target these days. Touches on all operations, and I think I will hand the unenviable task of giving the COVID-19 update. I think I'm correct that this will go to our Director of Community Services, Steph.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll definitely provide council with an update regarding community services. And then I'm not sure, I'm looking at Jay to see if we want to also include a brief update towards the end of this discussion matter pertaining to the assessment center, and just where I can do it. And if you want to jump in, Jay, I think it's important to note that the assessment center is still operational at the Marcel Noel Hall. The municipality are continuing to partner with the hospital and the health agencies and providing clerical services and providing janitorial services as well for daily disinfection and whatnot. So that is ongoing. So that's part of the COVID update. I think it's important to note there's some tremendous efforts within the community pertaining to COVID testing, and I wanted to point that out. And now moving on to community services. Obviously, we've got a couple key points to discuss this evening. I think that I'll have some decision points for council to consider this evening as well, pertaining to the reopening of the Verner Arena, the Verner Fitness Center, the Christmas parade, and also our current pool and gym membership fees. So just to start off the presentation, I do want to note that we have reopened the Sturgeon Falls Arena, the Recreation Complex Pool and Fitness Center as of yesterday. We have received feedback. I did attend the facility myself yesterday, and happy to report that we're getting positive feedback. I think our staff have done a phenomenal job in getting ready to this point, and kudos to everyone involved. I think we feel good about our safe operation of our facilities. That being said, like our chair mentioned, it's a moving target. We have new information coming to us daily. We continue to monitor, activity within the province, guidelines and whatnot. And if things change, obviously we'll have to react accordingly. And if significant impact to services are required, we will come back to council. Now moving on to, I guess, one of the decision points I did mention is the Christmas parade. I think it's important for council to provide direction whether we go ahead or not with the Christmas parade. We had briefly discussed it when we discussed other community events such as Kids Safe Halloween, the seniors dinner. There was concerns, and there's also a request to maybe consult with the health center and look to see if there are any potential options. Since then, as you're all aware, COVID numbers have significantly increased in the province of Ontario. Although we're not considered a hotspot, I think it's very important that we continue to be diligent in our approach. I did have a discussion with the health unit, and the health unit did not want to provide a position or recommendation either way. I think they were clear this is a community or municipal decision. That being said, during our discussion, it was easily pointed out that by hosting such an event, we know the amount of people that do attend that, and we'd be encouraging large gatherings, and it'd be very difficult to enforce and police the guidelines and the provincial laws, and it'd be tough on the OPP to do so, and it'd also be tough on us as the host organization to police certain events or certain aspects of this event, such as distancing on floats, distancing in vehicles, we're asking all the participants not to hand out any candies or any such matters. So that being said, we'll leave it to council to provide direction, but needless to say, I think some of the concerns would be the large gatherings, the crowds, and basically we'd be giving a reason for people to gather, and I think we're trying to avoid that. So I don't know, Mr. Chair, if you'd like to maybe on the first decision point get reaction from council and direction as well.
Right, so that's not a bad idea because you have a bunch. So do we want to do a round table, or would we just like to do a yay or nay on a Christmas parade? Well, does anybody have a preference?
Chris Leo, I would like to make a comment before.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I think it'd be a good point to cancel the parade, because I think we'd get probably some people out of town, and then we don't know where they're from. So you know, it's not on prejudice of having tourists, but I mean we're our own bubble, and I don't think it'd be a good idea to get people out of town to with our parade, and also with the opening of the pool. Are we going only for residents in West Nipissing, or are we going from out of town also?
If I may, through you, Mr. Chair, we don't have policy in place that would prohibit anyone outside the community right now to use our facility and buy a membership. So unless council directs us to create a new policy prohibiting anyone outside of our community, then we would do so. But if not, we don't have such policy existing right now.
But my question, it would be only for during the COVID, not, to remove it. I don't think we could change, just to not create a new policy, but just to, for the time being.
So again, through you, Mr. Chair, if this is council's wish, we can look at working towards that as per direction.
okay. Dan and then Lise.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that, the whole emphasis, and Dr. Chirico is being very conservative in his statements. Even today, he made a point that we shouldn't even have door-to-door Halloween. So I think on that note, and he's been small c conservative throughout this, and he really wants to ensure that it doesn't expand. I totally agree with Councillor Leo that, for the reasons that you outlined, Stefan, large crowds, et cetera, that we should, I think, cancel the parade.
Go ahead, Lise.
Lise, you're gonna have to unmute.
You're on mute, Lise. Can you
Trying. When I hear it the first time, but sometimes you have to press 3 or 4 times, so be patient, please. I would appreciate that. And I can say it open, so it doesn't matter, because I don't talk to myself when there are people looking at me. When I'm alone, I do so. So even if it's open, there's no noise in the house. But I'm gonna go with Councillor Dan and Councillor Leo on the fact that I think for the parade,
Lise, you've gone back to mute again.
even touch it. Is it on mute now?
No, it's good.
Okay, I'm not touching anything. So Mel, are you muting me? There's 2 co-hosts. Okay, so anyways, I don't support, I also support that we don't do the parade for this year. It's sad, but I mean, it's bad enough that we have to eliminate the number of people that we go. I'm going to, bury my sister on Friday, and we can only be 25. So that's like leaving out a lot of people that would love to be there. We cannot do anything inside. So, I mean, I would definitely support that. As far as the pool though, because I'm aware there's people right now from, that might change tonight, but people from Vernon right now that's going to Warren, they're going to North Bay, to arena and pool and try and dance because they don't have anything in Vernon. So I think maybe Stefan, you can answer that question, like everybody's treated the same way, all safety apply to everybody, so I mean, we need to be strict on that. I agree, but I don't think that would, at this point of time, depending what's gonna happen for Vernon resident, they have access to their own arena and they can do the sport. They don't have to travel to North Bay or St. Charles or whatever. There's an arena. I think Warren, most of them go. So I'll wait to make that decision on that. So, but the pool, I'm in agreement that, not the pool, but the parade to not to have it. Thank you.
Councillor Senecal, Denise Senecal.
Merci there, Mr. Chair. I'd just like to point out that I agree with not having the parade. I guess doesn't make very much sense to have people crowded together. But my point is, I just agree with Councillor Leo that we should look at the issue of having people from the outside of West Nipissing coming into the pool. I think we should look pretty hard into that. Makes sense to me that we would keep it limited to West Nipissing for the time being until we can settle this COVID thing. But yes, and I think we should have a conversation about that. Thank you.
Mr. Poulin, did you have something to say?
So just for council's consideration, I think if council is going to look at prohibiting individuals that do not reside or are not from West Nipissing into our pool facility, are we doing the same for the fitness center? Are we doing the same for our arenas? If so, the one thing that's just come to mind is we could potentially affect the junior A hockey club that we have here in town, because right now they're not scheduled to play games until probably early December, but if they do get their season to start up, that would prohibit any team from coming into this community.
Mr. Chair, my point, Councillor Leo, was just my point is not the arena. I was just talking about the pool and the fitness gym, because it's not that big. I'm not talking about arena. Thank you.
Councillor Lees. You're on mute. Still on mute.
Can we talk, like, I'm just wondering, because I'm waiting my turn and I'm leaving my answer. Can we talk when we feel like it, or we have to wait for you, Mr. Chair?
Well, I think we're doing it, but we're trying to get back to the old way of raising hands. So I think we're doing okay.
Well, I don't think you're doing okay, because that's why that somebody talked that just got in without even his hand open. So I'm seeing it. So just going
Okay.
to clarify, because I'm sure if I would be doing it, it would be pointed out pretty fast.
Okay.
Okay?
Uh,
So everybody the same.
So we've got this, we're kind of getting a bit off topic. So I've got that down. I got the bubble thing written down. We just finish off the parade because I think, okay, so I'm not sure who was first, whether it was the Madam Mayor or Yvonne. Yvonne, go ahead, Yvonne.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I guess I'm going to speak against the others with respect to the parade. The parade in itself, we the family, or my family, have created a bubble. We would stay within our bubble. Not necessarily mean that the people on the floats can actually keep their distances, wear a mask, because it wouldn't hurt to wear a mask during the cold weather. But it's unfortunate because the kids look forward to that parade, and it's unfortunate. We're walking beside each other in grocery stores that are populated with people. Where, it's when you look at the scenarios, you go into the brewery to buy a case of beer and there's 10 people in the beer store. It's ironic that we look at those things in a different way as opposed to having something that the kids can enjoy, families can enjoy, and it's unfortunate. I would have wished that we go ahead with the parade, but then again, the parade is only good as the participants, and if we had no participants, the parade wouldn't come on. But I would have wished for the parade. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I had to say that.
Madam Mayor, did you had something as well?
Well, you know what, it's heartbreaking, c'est dommage. that the event, for the right reason, is being canceled because as the host organizer of the event, there's no way that we'd have the capability of making sure that everyone is safe and having control on who's attending and who's not attending. I would just hope that if we don't organize, like I know that we're not going to pursue the parade because majority is speaking, that we can at least, as a municipality, council along with administration, promote and engage residents of our community to light up and decorate for Christmas and provide that opportunity of joy for kids in our community, because I know I've been getting a lot of echoes where people do want to circulate, walk, or by vehicle just to go and examine the decoration. And that's a completely different subject matter, but I'm just bouncing that issue. As far as limiting the pool and the gym to people from out of town, I really would like to have a little bit more information pertaining to the users, because we do have a lot of people from out of town that work in West Nipissing. I'm aware of many that do work, in facilities within our backyard, and some of them do use the facility as well. So I would just hope to have a little bit more detail before we can hash that discussion and see if we want to entertain a policy. That's it, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. So if I'm not mistaken, actually, I think that gives us quorum on cancellation of the Christmas parade. So the next point, and I think I have to go back to you, Steph, for a bit more clarification. The next issue you were looking at was the opening of the Verner Arena and timeframes to what's feasible, that kind of thing. If I could just pass that back to you for a minute.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you again, Verner Arena, when we originally provided council with an overview of our plan for facility reopening, we had indicated to council that we would come back to council once we had a firm understanding of what the ICE requirements or requests were for the upcoming season, which user groups would require how much ICE. There's still been some changes all the way up to yesterday, actually, on some of the user groups that originally anticipated more participants and whatnot. But that being said, I'll give council a brief overview of last year's ICE rental season. So on average at the Verner Arena, we rent about 35 hours of ICE per week. In Sturgeon Falls, last year, we rented about 50 hours of ICE per week. So combining those, we have a ICE rental of around 85 hours per week between two arenas. Currently, so one arena provides, if you're talking prime time versus non-prime time ICE, so prime time ICE is defined for our municipality from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Monday to Friday. And we also consider Saturday 8 to 8 and Sunday 8 to 8 as prime time ICE. So if you total all that up, we have available to our local user groups 54 hours of primetime ICE per facility. So combined, when we have two arenas operating, is 104 hours of primetime ICE available to our ICE user groups. I can tell council as of today, we currently have requests for ICE time for 47 hours per week from our local user groups. And I qualify that because we've only requested ICE requirements from the local user groups. And to give you an example, the AAA Association covers the entire district. They're not playing right now. So we normally would rent anywhere between 1.5 to 6 hours of ICE per week to that association. They're not operating this year. I know the Verner Bulls Minor Hockey Association anticipating having maybe 4 or 5 teams. They're down to only one team, so only 1 hour of ICE required. And speaking with the Verner Figure Skating Club, they've been skating since August. So they've been active. They've rented ICE in Sudbury, and they've also rented ICE in Warren. They're looking, initially they were looking, I believe, for 6 hours of ICE per week. Now that's gone down to 3 hours, but it will increase after January because I think they're locked into an ICE contract in Warren until January. but after January, it's going to go up. Between now and early December, like I mentioned earlier, the West Nipissing Lynx originally would book anywhere from 6 to 10 hours of ice per week. But now, since they're not playing games, that's obviously reduced. So they're going to take 6 hours of ice for skill and practices until such time as they know that the league is going to start again. And that could increase. So there's a potential as we move forward, if things don't worsen in the province and guidelines aren't stricter, that we could see a demand for ice increase. The other thing is that if we look at private rentals, so I've had inquiries from private companies that are looking at getting ice to run skills development programs. And I've also received requests from parents or individuals seeking private ice. So obviously from that 47 hours of required ice time for our local user groups, I think there could be an increase in that. Obviously, if we open a second arena, the other thing that's going to do is right now, if we operate the 47 hours under one umbrella, one arena, not everyone's going to get the specific ice they requested. So I've already advised most user groups that if we only operate one arena, groups and associations and leagues, adult leagues or minor hockey, will have to use Friday night ice and Saturday evening ice as well, so that everyone gets the same, the amount of ice time required. That being said, no one likes to play on Fridays and no one likes to play on Saturday evening. So, we could potentially see, especially adult groups, say, you know what, we're going to skip this year and they're not going to rent ice at all. So by opening a second arena, obviously there'll be more than enough ice. And that's one of the pros of opening the Vern Arena, is that we'd be able to give everyone the required ice time that they wanted and everyone would get primetime ice. Some of the challenges in opening a second arena, obviously, we're going to have 2 arenas to manage anywhere between 47 to 60 hours of ice. So we're not going to see our arenas as busy as in years past. So we'll have more downtime, but less revenue, but exact same cost, maybe even more, because we have to increase the disinfection and janitorial. So I leave it to council to basically direct us whether the Vern Arena will reopen. I can tell council, if council makes the decision to reopen the Vern Arena, I think the earliest, and I've discussed this with my staff, the earliest we can have that arena ready and open would be anywhere from October 16th to the end of November, November 16th to the end of November. We have to get ice plant in place. We have to recruit additional staff because there'll be further HR requirements. And so just so to situate council, that the earliest, very earliest would be November 16th, but even that's a stretch. We could be going into later in November. So, Mr. Chair, I leave it to you to direct this discussion.
Okay, so who wants to jump in? Questions, comments? Do you want the arena open or not?
Leo?
Go ahead, Leo.
Okay, yeah, I agree with Stefan. I think we should open the Werner Arena, and then it'll take another, 3 weeks? And by that time, maybe I'll get more interest to use that arena. And I think we'll satisfy everybody. I'm okay with it, to open it to Werner.
Councillor Lee Senecal?
I have a question, because you mentioned if you open Werner, you're gonna have to look for a new staff, but you already have staff. Are they been laid off for COVID, or that's a staff that would come back?
No, we, if I may, through you, Mr. Chair, no, we don't. We haven't laid off staff. Well, we did initially. All our maintenance staff are back, but by opening a second arena, what happens is we're still providing maintenance services to the assessment center. We're also providing janitorial services to, like, StatScan is back up and running, and we've got Dr. Bourgault, we've got OMAFRA's back in their office in Werner. So we're really stretched thin with the increase in demand for janitorial and maintenance for COVID. We've recently posted a part-time maintenance pool. So we're hoping to increase that pool so we can meet the demands as facilities reopen. And it's not business as usual either. So if we're going to operate a second arena, we will most likely need 1.5 of human resources compared to what we needed in the past, just because of one person in the Vernon Arena will not be able to do the ice resurfacing, the cleaning of dressing areas, and disinfection. One person won't be able to handle that. So we'll have to add additional staffing resources to be able to accommodate that.
If I may, Mr. Chair, may I keep on going and asking questions?
Go ahead.
Okay, so, did you look into the possibility, instead of opening as many hours that you did in the past, that it could be go down and staff stay there? That means that they will be working when there's nobody in the arena. I mean, you said yourself that it's going to be less busy with the two arena and both. So obviously, I mean, they might be able to maintain it. If it's not full blast all the time, there would be no big party, no gathering, because it's impossible. So the room upstairs, for example, I know that the complex, Marcel Noël, is busy, but the other small room won't be busy because it's not going to be rented. The kitchen not going to be rented. So obviously they're saving times over there. There's no cleaning. And if nobody goes, you don't need to disinfect it. And the same goes to Werner. I think I would look in I think they need I would support obviously that they open it, because I mean, there's no reason that our residents go to Warren and they go to Sudbury and they spend their money there when, they should be spending their money over here. So that's my thought with that.
So if I may just, Mr. Chair, comment on Councillor Sinical's point about staffing and scheduling. We have done that in the past. So for example, the last several number of years, there just wasn't any ice requests in Vernon on Fridays. No one wanted the ice there. So except for when there were tournaments. So we do not schedule staff when there are no bookings, and we control how we place the bookings. So you're absolutely right. If there's only 1 hour of ice requested on a Saturday, we'll move that to Sunday, and we won't staff the arena on a Saturday. We'll just shut it down. We've done that in the past. So that's a good point. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Denise Senecal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, with this clarification, Stefan, I think we should give it a try at open up Vernon and maybe have one shift at night there around 4 to 12, or just one shift when Skelton through there, and we can always shut her down if there's nobody there, I guess. But it's just a matter of starting the compressors. So after we can shut her down if there's no business, but I think we should give it a shot. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I concur as well. I'm just thinking, throughout the winter months and with COVID and wave 2, I mean, mental health issues. It was nice to say isolate, stay at home during the summer, but then we were promoting, and our health professionals were promoting physical condition, remaining active, enjoy the outdoor, but there's quite a difference between the summer and the winter months. So something needs to be available for families and for young children. I would also encourage that we do a lot of promotion marketing pertaining to renting to families and individual groups, because I was also approached with that. Maybe the schedule is going to tweak, but at least it's going to be accessible. And if the arena doesn't open, it means the gym upstairs is not open either. And that's also another issue, which would be very detrimental to the ones that are using the gym, which there is quite the population that are senior and that they require an access locally to be able to stay tuned and stay fit. So no, I think it warrants. I don't like to see our own user groups like the Vernon Figure Skating Club going to an outlying municipality to be able to have ice time when we have 2 arenas here. And also, I want to commend one of the local residents, Nathalie Laframboise. She sent an email to all of us. She did a poll with a lot of the user groups to find out exactly what would be the ice time that they would need. I'm not too sure if it got to you, Stefan, but I'd be more than happy to share it with you. Because from her poll and speaking with the various user groups, I think she had identified already 15 hours of usage per week for the Verner Arena. And I think we were all shared that information.
Go ahead, Councillor Duhaime.
I do concur with what the mayor is mentioning here. I've had a lot of calls from people from Verner who are somewhat concerned about the fact that the only thing they do have in Verner was the arena, and they were very hopeful that the arena would open up. And I explained to them the situation pertaining to COVID and with regards to the ice time and whatnot. But I think, there's hope that they themselves will take charge of renting the arena to help the usage and whatnot. So I think, by December 1st, I think we should have the Verner Arena open, if that's possible. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So unless anybody do you want to pipe in on that, Councillor Larrabee?
Yes, yes, sir. I totally agree with opening the Verner Arena, but I do have a question for Stefan. The cost to open up the arena, just by curiosity.
So to answer your question, Councillor Larrabee, the cost to reopen the arena, they're fixed costs. So we have ice plant maintenance, we have Zamboni maintenance, we have ice painting once we have the first coat of ice. We also have line painting. So those are standard costs. That will vary anywhere between 10 to 15,000 to get the arena up and running, firing up the ice plant. Then there's the ongoing operational cost of an arena. I looked at the numbers, and our arenas cost us roughly 13,000 per arena in hydro alone per month.
Per month, okay.
Per month. And then you add staff time on top of that. So running an arena is not a money-making venture. I think council's aware of that. It's a community service. It's a facility to provide recreational activities to our residents. So although in years past, our recreation facilities do not make money, we always operate at a certain loss. It's just council has to be aware that with decrease in ice rental and increase in maintenance costs, disinfection, whatnot, the gap widens. So the loss per hour to run these facilities just increase more and more. So the council, I know, is aware of that. So that I'm just making that point. So that's part of your decision-making process.
Thank you, Stefan. That is it, Councillor Fisher.
Okay, so I think we have quorum on the arena. You okay, Liz? I think we got quorum on opening the arena. So I guess the next point, decision point you wanted to discuss, the Verner Gym. Did you want to fill us in a bit more on that, Steph, before we discuss it?
I certainly can. So the Verner Gym is more complex than one would think. In years past, we basically had maintenance staff go in at 8 a.m. when the gym was open, when the arena was open. We'd unlock the one side door. We would ask residents to call in. They could buy a 1 month, 3 month, or 5 month membership. And we would work on an honor system that people would actually pay their memberships and to access our facility. We had a sign-in, a login book that people would sign in as they come in, and they'd sign out as they leave, so we knew the time, who was in, and whatnot. It was not supervised. There was a risk at that time, but we felt that we mitigated the risk that we could operate that way. Now with COVID, everything changes. For COVID, you have to book the facility in advance. You have to book a time slot. I believe in Sturgeon, it's an 1.5-hour time slot when you book. You have to pay number of passes, and every time you go with a per visit pass. Our facilities must be supervised as per provincial guidelines. We have to have strict contact tracing. And so we just can't do what we've done in the past and unlock the facility and go on an honor system and allow people to come in and out of our facility. Those days are gone. So opening up the Verner Gym is going to be more expensive. and a bit more problematic in the sense that we're going to have to put more measures in place compared to years past to be able to successfully operate that gym. So I want to just put things into context because I know that there's been a lot of chatter in the community about the Verner Gym. I just want to remind council that originally in 2020, this year, we had budgeted and council originally approved the relocation of the Verner Gym because of also everything I just mentioned, but add to that, you know, it's not a very accessible, friendly facility at the top of the Verner Arena. You've got to go up a couple flight of stairs. Some had issues with that. So we had decided collectively to move the Verner Gym to the Municipal Administration Building. We were going to take 2 old school classrooms and convert that into a gym. COVID happened. Staff were directed to go back and find savings because we had a significant reduction in revenue. So community services came back to council, and we recommended that 4 projects in particular be delayed to 2021, and council unanimously approved that. And I'll remind council that one of them was the Verner Gym relocation. That was pushed back to budget deliberation for 2021. The field outdoor rink roof project, the new construction of a Cache Bay outdoor rink, and the improvements to the Sturgeon Falls Beach. So those 4 projects were delayed to 2021. So the construction of the new gym in the new building was 100% approved by council back this spring. So I just wanted to put that on record. So now for us to look at reopening the gym as it's set up today would require significant investment in human resources. So for example, if we're going to reopen that gym, because we don't schedule maintenance staff during the day, because there's no ice rental, we're still going to have to man that facility to ensure proper supervision, controlled access. We have to screen everyone that comes in to make sure they have no symptoms. We have to take their personal information for contact tracing and have that available to health unit in case they request it. And we also are going to have to schedule maintenance staff for disinfection, regular disinfection. That's mandated by the province. There's no cutting corners around that. So to do so, if we're going to put clerical staff there 12 hours a day, if we open 8 to 8, 6 days a week, and then we put maintenance staff at 8 hours a day, times 5 days, and I don't schedule on weekends because we will have maintenance staff scheduled for the arena portion, we're looking at about a $4,700 investment per week just in human resources alone to operate that gym. Now, in case council is wondering, how many members did we have in Verner in 2019? We had a total of 6 paid members that bought a 1-month membership. We had 4 paid members that bought a 3-month membership, and that's from November to March. So November 2019 to March 2020, before COVID hit. Then we had 17 members that purchased a 5-month membership, and we had 1 member over the age of 75, and that membership is free for anyone over the age of 75. So again, Mr. Chair, I leave it to council to provide direction, and we will implement whatever council's decision is, whether we open or we remain closed.
Thank you, Steph. So who would like to speak on that one? Madame Mayor.
So through you, Mr. Chair, Stefan, you mentioned $4,700 per week just to have the gym open full-time with all the regulations and the resources required to disinfect and so on, right?
If I may, Mr. Chair, the 4,700, Madam Mayor, is just in human resources alone.
Okay. So I don't think, you know what, I for one would advocate that I'd like to have the gym open and accessible, even if it be 10 or 12 or 15 users. But I do know also that we have restrictive funds. Is there an opportunity that we can explore with a community club to see if we can have some equipment relocated and see if there'd be a community club that would be available, accessible to open their doors for a certain amount of hours per week, and that we would pay them a fee to provide this access or this service on behalf of West Nipissing? Could that be an option? Can we explore those type of options?
Absolutely. If there's an organization or a club in Vernon that has the space and they wish to be able to provide that type of service and adhere to all the guidelines, and all we're doing is lending our equipment. If council's wish is to okay that, certainly we will work with any organization or club that has the space to do it in Vernon. Absolutely.
Okay, so if I may, Mr. Chair, because I do know that also the gym being at the second story, there's an accessibility issue with some of the users for the gym. Parce que c'est pas aussi accessible au deuxième étage. Mais s'il y a l'opportunité qu'on puisse explorer l'option avec un club de la communauté qui ont de l'espace, qui serait prêt à entreprendre peut-être l'équipement, puis travailler avec la municipalité et la façon d'avoir une entente et compenser pour le service. Donc, moi, je recommanderais qu'il y aurait peut-être l'opportunité de considérer ceci, peut-être comme avec le club d'amitié qui ont de l'espace, qui est facilement accessible, puis qu'on pourrait les appuyer avec les critères de santé pour que s'assurer que les gens qui sont là, puis ceux qui l'utilisent, soient sécures.
Okay, so I believe in order would be Councillor Lee Seneca and then Councillor Denise Seneca.
Okay, I think I like that what the mayor just said, the idea. That's a potential avenue. I do have maybe I understand that with $4,700 and per week, and that's not including the maintenance and some other expense. It's just HR. What about for the time being before like next spring, because COVID's gonna last till next spring, and by the time maybe even that we get back to normal, that if the people from Vernon wants to use the complex, the gym at the complex, they'd be charged maybe half of the price of the other one because they have to travel to Vernon, and because everybody is paying for the recreation services in West Nipissing anyways. There's two budget maybe, but it's coming down to the money of everybody. Like that's the way it works. So that would be for me maybe a potential that encourage them if they want to buy and they follow the same thing and it's structured. It doesn't create more work. It's the same HR. They just have to structure it, because I did saw the big package, information package you provide to some of not to some, to the one that registered for the gym. So it's pretty extensive, very clear. So I think they should, for the time being, till we decide what we do with the gym in Vernon. So I think that would be another option to look at it. I do have a question for the 75-year-old. I had to laugh a little bit. Like it's free at 75. I think maybe if we would put it down a little bit lower, like, I mean, 75, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's not the majority of seniors that do gym at 75, but you would get, I know a lot of people in their early 70 that they would love to go to the gym every day, and they can, because I mean, they cannot afford it. They are on a pension. So, and for a healthy reason, and because we are, like, I mean, senior, I wouldn't say a senior community, but there's a lot of senior. I think 75, I mean, why put 75? I mean, it's, I don't get that part, 75, because everywhere we go, if you're senior, you got 50, you got 55, you got 60, you got 75, but 75, it's pretty high. That's only my thought. I think it's, I don't know. I think it would help a lot of people live past 75 if we start earlier so they can go to the gym.
That's totally up to council, Councillor. If council wishes to reduce those policy decisions, I know it's been 75 for as long as I've been here.
Yeah, that's
So
the first
that could
time.
be for another discussion as well, because as we had already advised council, once COVID subsides, we are coming back to council with a complete revised fee and a fee review policy. So, and that's going to pertain to all of our recreational and community services facilities.
So if I may I continue, Mr. Chair, because that would
Go ahead,
lead to
Lise.
my next comment or question, because right now I know that the fee has been raised and I think it's so, I was surprised a little bit because I mean, I did not know about it. So, and you're saying that next year again, they're going to be raised. Is that what you're saying, Stefan?
No, we're not saying we're going to raise the fees, is we're going to review all the fees. Some might go up,
Okay.
some might go down. It's going to be based on an analysis and recommendations to council, and then council makes those decisions.
So why was that time that decision was made without consultation, if I may ask?
We haven't raised fees. If you want, Mr. Chair, we can come back to fees because
Yeah,
that's a decision
so
point we're
I
going to
do
need.
have that. I have fees, actually, Sturgeon
Okay.
membership fees is the next item. So,
Okay, I'm good till now, yeah?
My turn now, Mr.
yes,
Chair?
go ahead, Councillor.
Okay, I know we're going off topic here, but my question, I guess, through you, Mr. Chair, is to Stefan. I think I'm not judging or anything, but are we getting the worst case scenario on the hours of attendance, and do we need an attendant at the arena? Why do we need to have the gym open so many hours in Verner? It could be simply a couple hours at night there's not that much demand anyways, but if we're going to have an ICE attendant there, I think worst case is maybe 47 a week, but I think that's a little bit much. I think we can through scheduling and maybe less hours, we could manage to open the gym somehow for a couple of hours, not necessarily every day, but at least a couple of times a week, so people can go and have a little bit of exercise. So that's my opinion. We should relook at that and see if we can't bring down that labor from 47 a week. I think that's excessive. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ravita.
Just to add to Councillor Denise' comment, we're scheduling people in Sturgeon for blocks of an hour and a half. Wouldn't it be just to try it, have people call in, schedule, like Denise said, and it would be the time where we could just have somebody over there and clean the place like they're supposed to and make sure that everything's all right. Because that way, then we would know if there's a real demand. Because I have an issue with moving our equipment around. We know that when you start moving equipment around, you break it and it causes issues. So just complimenting what Councillor Denise says, if we open the gym and we said you have to phone in, book the gym for a specific time, and like you're doing in Sturgeon, so it wouldn't be any different. And then we would have to ensure that there's somebody there. And then we could parallel what Councillor Denise is saying, that we ensure that the window is at the same time when the arena is open. So that would be my suggestion. I don't know if it's possible. I'm just throwing that out. Thank you.
So let's go to Councillor Millet first, and then we'll go back to the staff for his opinion.
Yeah, thank you. And just a question for Steph. How long does it take just to clean the equipment? Because I mean, if they only use it for an hour and then it has to be cleaned again and then before somebody else. So that's where the cost is, if I'm not, if I'm correct.
Well, the people using the equipment are asked to disinfect or to wipe down the equipment before every use and after every use. But then after the 1 hour hour and a half session is finished, before the new group comes in, we give ourselves at least half an hour so that maintenance staff can go in, and we're using a fogger, and we fog the entire room, and then we shut it down, and within 10-15 minutes everything is 100% disinfected.
So how much would it cost just for an hour? Just ballpark figure.
To clean?
Yes, between.
Well, it's not about just for an hour. So there's certain thoughts that come across when we're talking hours of operation and scheduling. I believe if we only open when the ice is being rented. So for example, if we only have a maintenance staff there Monday to Thursday from 4 to midnight, because that's where we rent ice, and we open the gym from only 4 to 8, I think we'll get a lot of negative feedback. Most users were using it throughout the daytime and not evening. But
Okay.
even though if we do open the fitness center during the time where the arena is open, we still need to bring in an additional maintenance staff to help with the cleaning. So the other thing is we have to schedule staff in advance. We have unionized staff, we have collective agreements, we have to follow those. So we just can't say, oh, we've got a booking tomorrow, 6 people are coming in to do a workout from 6 to 7:30 and last minute schedule staff. We can't do that. So that becomes problematic. So we would have to say, if we're gonna open the gym, here are the hours of operation, and we're gonna schedule whether somebody shows or no one shows.
Okay,
Good answer.
okay, okay, thank you.
Councillor Larrabee.
Yeah, I'm just hearing what's all the comments being made, and I tend to agree with Councillor Lee's, what she's saying. Maybe we should keep the Werner gym closed and bring them to Sturgeon Falls, give them a rebate, and try to fill the one in Sturgeon to its capacity before we open the second one. Thank you.
Okay, so I really don't have a case. Councillor Denis. Councillor Seneca.
Your last comment, Mr. Chair, thank you. I still don't agree that we can't work around our scheduling to accommodate our residents for a few hours a week or a day. Doesn't make sense to me. We could always book half an hour off for the attendant in the ice area, and he can go and clean for half an hour, especially that we have a fogging machine, which I didn't know we had. So I don't see the issue here. It's an issue of scheduling. That's all it is. It's not an issue of finances.
Well,
So I don't see why we're not doing it.
if I can, Mr. Chair, it's not only about scheduling disinfection. We also need a clerk sitting there full time to assure that the gym is properly supervised, that people are confirming that they're COVID free or they're symptom free. We need somebody there to also ensure that we've got proper contact tracing. So it's not business as usual where the maintenance staff is down flooding the ice and people are just walking in and out. We need supervision at our facilities. We just can't operate the way we did in the past. So to your point, yes, we can schedule, but you have to tie the financial and human resources to reopening that facility. We can't go day to day and schedule at the last minute. We just can't do that.
Go ahead, Denny.
I should let Jay go ahead because it's his spot, but I'll make
Okay.
it quick.
So we have I believe we have Mr. Barbeau, Madam Mayor, and
Well, I was online. I might as well finish. I just want to say that I still don't agree. I think we should find some sort of solution here. Doesn't make sense to me that we close the gym. Doesn't make sense. Anyways, that's only my opinion. Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Barbeau.
Yeah, I think you know, when you look at you know, these issues in a vacuum, I think, you know, down in the trenches where the operations are, one is you can't think that somebody in an arena who's responsible for sanitizing and ensuring that the rink is properly operating can also properly handle the appointment basis and do the disinfection and the appointment basis of 1 or 2 people upstairs. I think that's going to lead to frustration from one group or the other. And I think that's what Steph is making. I think you also have collective agreement issues with respect to how you know, you're scheduling some folks. I think the point that's being made is, yes, you can do it, but you're throwing resources at 1 or 2 people. And the guidelines that the province is putting forward towards fitness centers necessitates that we can't operate it the way we used to. So now you're actually kind of operating a gym for 18 people. So that's the problem. You can do it, but you have to throw resources at it. You have to throw people to bring them in, contact, trace, screen, fill out the proper forms. So the point we're making is that the other things are achievable, but this one here is achievable, but there's a lot of resources for the return of a few, and those resources I think probably could be spent in a better way. So I think that you probably want to look at alternatives for those wanting to get exercise that are presently using the Verner Gym.
Madam Mayor, you had something?
I was going to say, most of the members that were using the gym were not using the gym during evenings. They were using it during daytime. So that's going to be problematic with the operation of the arena and sharing the resources from the arena with the gym. The issue of saying, well, let's compensate people from Verner traveling to Sturgeon using the gym in Sturgeon, then you're going to be opening up an issue for individuals in all outlying area, whether you're in Field or River Valley or Lavigne. And if you want to use the gym and you want to travel, well, then everyone's going to say we want to be treated the same way. So that's going to be problematic as well. There's presently 2 community facilities in Verner that I can think of, and that maybe we should approach these organizations, and they're accessible main level. And the ones that were using the gym, pour donner un exemple, ont des problèmes pulmonaires. Puis ces gens-là utilisaient le gymnase au 2e étage sans de supervision, sans même faire certain qu'il y avait quelqu'un là pour surveiller au cas si jamais qu'il y avait un besoin. So I think we have to think outside the box. Like, I know that we want to be able to help the people and keep them active, and the one that were using the gym in the past and that they needed for health issues. And keep in mind, not everyone has the capability of traveling to Sturgeon either. So maybe short term right now, I hear that there's a will. We're looking at opportunities. If we can recommend to staff to look at options, and if we need to knock at doors to see if there's an opportunity for a partnership. And maybe there's going to be more users, who knows? But at least explore it before saying that we're not going to do it because it's too much of an investment to open it up. And my final comment, I'm happy that staff made reference that when it comes to recreational facilities, we don't generate profits. We're always operating at a loss. And I think we have to be cognitive that during COVID, the extra demand to make sure that our facilities are safe for our staff, safe for the users, is more costly. And I believe that's one of the reasons that we got that $1 million COVID relief fund to be able to help us. So in my mindset, we don't want to be throwing good money away, but we know that there's going to be a cost to keep people active in our community and keep them healthy.
Okay, so thank you. Anybody else on this topic? I'll try and wrap this up as best I can because, go ahead, Councillor Lisa.
Really fast. I think it's good that we got to look at options, because I do agree that we have to look and try to find a solution for that. And I know that not just anybody can go from Verner to Sturgeon, but we need to remember there's only 2 places that we have a gym in West Nipissing, and that's Verner and that's Sturgeon. So at some point of time, yes, I would agree that if people wants to buy half price for COVID, that goes to Verner, because maybe there's people from Lavigne that goes to Verner for the gym. And maybe there's people from River Valley that goes to Vernon because it's closer to Sturgeon. I'm just saying, I'm talking about the people in West Nipissing, and to look at an option. That was just an option. I like the fact, I know that when you start borrowing equipment, it could be very hard on the equipment, but right now we might have to look at it and be very careful when we're moving it, and just moving it for a period of a year, something like that, that we're not going to be moving the thing 2 or 3 times in the next year. So there's a few options that I think Stefan was giving tonight the opportunity to look into it. And I think I agree that it will be very, very important. It's going to be a long winter. I mean, in summertime you can walk around, but I mean, if people cannot go and I mean, we don't know what it's going to be in a month. Right now, we're not in the red zone, but there's case in our bay that we did not have before in school. So we don't know what's going to happen in 1 month. So I would like to be able to do something for the people. That's it.
So, okay, Councillor Duhaime.
Well, I'm more in line with Dan and Dennis. I think if we scheduled Monday morning, Wednesday morning, and a Thursday morning for anyone who wants to use it, and we have someone there to overlook the situation, I think that would pretty well cover their problems in Vernon. So we're looking half days for Monday, Wednesday, or Thursday, or just 1 or 2 days a week. And that wouldn't cost a lot of money to do, so there we go.
That's an option.
There's my opinion.
So, Rolly,
Councillor Fisher.
yes,
Yes,
go ahead, Councillor Larrabee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A question to Stefan. Let's say we agree to move the equipment into another location where there's an organization in Vernon. My question would be, is it still our liability because it's our equipment to make sure that there's employees there to clean it? Or it becomes the liability of the organization that's letting the equipment set up in their building?
Good luck with that.
Yeah. I'll let Jay take that one.
That depends on the structure of the agreement. If you're basically indicating that our gym is closed, but that we've loaned equipment to an organization that's willing to offer fitness center, and that they're going to be offering fitness facilities or services by their organization, then they would be liable for any of the issues. The mere fact that they're using our equipment wouldn't matter. It's more the fact of who has control, care, and custody over the user. And so if we're giving it to, let's say, the Chevalier Colon as an example, and they agree that they're going to have somebody there and whatever, then, that would be, from an operational sense, very easy. If it's us taking over the liability and bringing a bunch of heavy equipment down a few sets of stairs, and then we're going to run the same way we were going to run, then there's no change to our problem, and there's no change to liability. So if somebody is willing to take it, as the mayor suggests, it's not overly onerous. It's just that for us it is, but if somebody's willing to do it, then certainly that can be explored.
Okay, so
And on that issue, I would be in agreement with what the mayor is saying, as long as it would be the club that was taking it, that would make sure that it's manned properly to the provincial standard. So we would not have a responsibility, because that wouldn't be our home. It would be that club's home. So on that note, I would agree to that. If they do take all the responsibility of that equipment and being traced and all the measurements that the province is asking. Thank you.
Okay, so I think to wrap this one up, so I'm in agreement as well that with Lise, the mayor, and if somebody does step up, then certainly take it. So I think that we could leave that as so it's maybe Steph can look into it. If somebody approaches Steph, then that's the way we'll go. But we're not going to open in its current form. So I think we have one more, Steph, that you wanted, which is membership fees. That I actually did something about that today.
Sorry, Councillor Chris, I
Go
had
ahead.
sorry, I didn't, I wasn't able to understand your final comments. So we're given direction to staff to pursue the venue for maybe a different location. Either way, it's gonna come back to council, right?
Yeah, that's what I thought, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So again, Steph, I think there was one other item that was the membership fees, and the structure of those is to be discussed.
Yes, so the fee discussion was supposed to be held in October at our last council meeting, but we didn't get to it. So that's why we had to follow our current policy and provide a fee structure for people that wanted to buy memberships when we opened yesterday. So we did not increase prices. We did not change policy. We have set prices that we're following. So essentially what's happened is because we're not allowing people to buy a 1 month membership like we have in the past, or a 1 year membership, and allow them to come anytime they want, the structure we're following is a more controlled structure where you buy 10 passes. And once you've exhausted your 10 passes and you've done your 10 workouts, if you've been at the pool 10 times, then you got to buy an additional 10 passes. And the same membership agreements, we get them to re-sign it in case guidelines and protocols have changed. So what's happened is our current fee structure, for every single use of the pool or the gym, it's $4.50. That's tax included. So the municipality gets, I don't know, I haven't done the math on that, but I think it's $2.22 revenue, and we pay 28 cents in HST. So it's $4.50. So if you buy a book of 10 passes, it's $45. So after you've gone to the gym 10 times, you've got to renew that and buy another 10 passes. So if you compare a 1 month membership prior to COVID, it was $53. Now a 1 month membership, if you're going to the gym 5 times a week, 20 times a month, would amount to $90. So there's a substantial amount there of increase. So if you look at a 1 month membership versus a 20 time occurrence in a month, if you're going to the gym 5 times, there's an increase of $38 per month for those that go to the gym 5 times a week or go to the pool 5 times a week. So yeah, it's a significant increase. So what possibly we're recommending to council is look at reducing that, because it is an exorbitant amount to take in if for the avid gym goers that go regularly. But I just wanted to highlight a couple stats. Is so for the Sturgeon Falls gym, our biggest uptake were the daily passes. A lot of people that do go to the gym or pool that aren't monthly or 6 month or 1 year members are used to paying the $4.50. So in 2019 alone, we sold 4,200 daily passes compared to 47 1 month memberships, 25 3 month memberships, 22 6 month memberships, and 43 1 year memberships. And we have also 75 or 31 individuals that are 75 and over that use our facility. So the additional increase in fees, if you look at a 1 year membership, so if you bought a 1 year membership, we encourage you to do that so you can get a further discount. Our past prices for a 1 year membership amounted to about $24 per month. So now if you're paying $90 and you're going 5 times a week, it's a very substantial increase. So what we're recommending to council is to, during COVID and until we come back with a fee structure review, is to maybe go down to $2.50 per pass, per daily fee. And somebody that goes to the gym 5 times a week will actually see a $3 savings compared to a 1 month membership that used to exist. So I leave it to you, Mr. Chair.
Let's start this time with Councillor Lee Endicott, and then we will go to Councillor Leo Miller. Go ahead, Lise.
I'm trying. Okay, I got it. Well, that's what I was saying, that the person that I spoke to had a membership and then now he's paying $4.50, which is a major increase because he goes 5 times a week. So I love that idea to, so that's a lot of money for, and most member that goes really serious to the gym, they go a minimum of 3 times a week or 5 times a week, and most of them go 5 times a week. So I think I would definitely support $250 for COVID time, and then revisit the price and see what we can do. So I'm sure they're going to be very happy to hear that. So that I would support that, Stefan.
Thank you, Councillor Millet, and then Councillor Revita.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I agree with Councillor Elise with the 250, and also why there's so many 3 and 6 months and not yearly membership in the past is because a lot of these people that they go to Florida for the winter, so that's why they would not buy a yearly pass. But this year is different with COVID, and none of them are going, or most of them are not going. But I totally agree at 250. Thank you.
Go ahead, Councillor Revita.
Yeah, I tend to agree with your proposal, Stefan. Thank you. Good work on that one, because we've been getting, I don't know if you people have been getting calls, but I've been getting calls from people stating that it's just exorbitant what we were going to be asking them to do. But the 250, now I just want to get to the point, if I may, Mr. Chair, what is the scheduling thing about? You're saying that a person has to schedule and they're there for an hour and a half. How many people would be in the room for that hour and a half?
So if I may, Mr. Chair, how this works is because both the fitness center and the pool are located so closely to each other, and they're sharing change rooms. When the gym's open, the pool isn't. We can't have both facilities open because then we'd exceed the amount of people in the dressing area. So do an alternative schedule. So the maximum allowed in the gym at once is 10 individuals. So if you want to go work out, let's say next Monday, and you call and say, I'd like to book the 5 to 6:30 spot, if there's already 10 people that have booked, unfortunately, you have to pick an alternative time.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so is there, I guess I'll just ask, is there any opposition to dropping it to 250? And if nobody says no, then perhaps we can move on. So I think we're good to lower that price to 250. There was one other thing that was mentioned earlier, and that was the idea of the bubble. And I know, like, the Atlantic bubble was very controversial at first, and actually it seems to have worked. But there are problems with that. I'm wondering if we can't just put that on the back burner, and perhaps if this pandemic gets out of control and we need to shut down the West Nipissing, then we shut down West Nipissing, and that's something we can discuss. Is there anybody, would that be okay to do with that topic?
Not sure we understood, Councillor Chris.
So earlier on, there was discussion about limiting people that only live in West Nipissing to our facilities, and that's called it's a bubble. It's like what they did in Atlantic Canada, that you're only allowed to be there if you're in Atlantic Canada. And so what I'm saying is there are difficulties with it, but it's not a terrible idea. If this pandemic did get completely out of hand, we could revisit that idea. Just so, because it was discussed, it was mentioned, and I just don't want to lose the thinking. Go ahead, Councillor Seneca.
Well, I would agree that that if it gets worse, yeah, you can look at it. But I mean, you have to remember that the Atlantic City have been doing it since day one. And there's things that we can stop people. I thought you were talking that we can stop people from coming to West Nipissing. That I don't think that would be possible. And I don't think we'll be able to do that. But I mean, because I wish they would close the south from the northern Ontario. But I mean, it's not up to us, but I would agree to discuss it if it comes. But right now, I think West Nipissing and even North Bay, we're doing extremely good, which touch wood. Jake, and I have your, just bend down a little bit, I'll touch your head. There, see, the joke, good, okay?
Okay, so there's just one more topic that I just want to tease out of Steph, if I may, and it's on COVID. So outdoor rinks, we didn't discuss that yet. If you could just give me where we are at this point in time, what I was thinking.
So where we are, Mr. Chair, is we're looking at ways to safely operate our outdoor rinks for the coming winter season. We will take our direction from the health unit as far as using our facilities. So not the rinks per se, but the cabane, the shack, call it the ice shacks or what you will. So we're going to take our direction from them as far as recommendations and guidelines. And prior to finalizing the selection of the rink attendants that basically build the ice and manage those outdoor rinks on our behalf, we want to make sure that we fully understand how it's going to operate and whether we will be in a position to use the shacks or not, and how we can safely operate. So we'll definitely come back to council with a lot more detailed plan prior to the time where we start building ice in our outdoor rinks.
Thank you. So I think that ends the COVID-19 update. And I am going to go, oh, sorry, Madam Mayor.
Yeah, just a comment. If the issue of the policy is going to come back, I also think I'd like to explore the issue of free access for 70 and over instead of just 75 and over. I'd like to know what would be the impact, the financial impact. And if it's an opportunity that it's going to stimulate, encourage our seniors to attend and stay fit during the winter months, I think during COVID, it would be a great initiative.
So, but basically that's asking the staff to come back for the impact on lowering that to 70 instead of 75.
That's right.
Okay, I mean, does that sound reasonable, Steph? You can come up with that.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Okay, so on to D1B, which is school crossing, student safety, and that is that's Ethel. And I think actually we this has been to council before, and I think we did tentatively agree on some things. I know there was some crossing involved, and there was also I think there was a sidewalk issue. Yeah, perhaps I can pass this to Mr. Barbeau.
Well, he's not here. I'll take it. So, yes, you're right. The sidewalk project is scheduled for 2021. So that'll probably alleviate, a lot of the issue. There has been discussion about crossing guards at a variety of locations. Given COVID, it wasn't something that we were able to bring back. But council asked for what it would cost. I would suggest about $6,000 per season, per school season, per crossing guard. That's our estimate. So there was this area. There was a discussion about the corner of 3rd and Salter. It's not on the agenda, but might as well just put that in there. If we have the sidewalk, I mean, the common knowledge and some of the email that came from our public works manager is that it's never a good idea to create crossing at a place that is not an intersection. It just creates some confusion for traffic and so on. If council wants to entertain that this year, probably we can look at implementing something in the winter months, but we would probably need to really delineate where the crossing should be. I think there might be a risk there. But if council wants to do it, it would be approximately half of that 6,000. It would be about 3,000 to hire a crossing guard to finish the season. But I think the sidewalk project next year is going to alleviate this concern. I don't know if there's more, Mr. Chair, that you wanted me to comment on, but.
No, that was it. So who would like to speak on this? Madam Mayor, you put it in, so why don't you go first?
Okay, well, the reason I asked to put it on, I'm not too sure. I want clarification because the last time that we spoke about this location, and we also talked about safety concerns at the intersection of Nipissing and 3rd, council was informed that we get a report on what would be the cost to hire a crossing guard. So am I hearing correctly that we already have a crossing guard at this location that the municipality retained?
No.
No?
No, no.
Okay.
No, what I indicated, I'm spinning here. Wow, that's, what I indicated is that council asked for a cost with everything else that happened over the course of the winter, that thing, you know, that got put to the back burner. But that we had done the analysis, we just never brought it back to council. And you're looking at approximately between $5,000 and $6,000 at a certain price. That would probably satisfy getting a crossing guard at whatever location you want. Now, if you want to expand the subject matter to do a follow-up of what was discussed prior to, Madam Mayor, then we're talking about this location, and we're talking about 3rd and Nipissing, and we potentially could be talking about Our Lady of Sorrows as well. Although right now they've satisfied their own needs by having their teachers volunteer. And so it's volunteer. It's just the teachers are taking it upon themselves to ensure that their students are safe and are looked after, which is refreshing. So if council wants to entertain crossing guards at 1 or 2 locations, you're looking at about $6,000 per season. So if you figure that by the time we get this rolling and we have a second semester implementation, you'd be looking at about $3,000 per location.
Okay, so if I may, Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Okay, well, after reading the correspondence and also speaking with parents that do have young ones attending school, it's obvious that not all children are doing transportation by bus. So there's more circulation, there's more traffic. I think for the time being, because of COVID and because of the increased traffic, that we should consider having a crossing guard at the 2 locations. And it could be subject to review based on other safety measures that can be adopted throughout our future budgets, such as the sidewalk that's being mentioned on Ethel.
Thank you. Councillor Rovita, and then Councillor Denise Senecal, and then Councillor Lee Senecal.
As I'm the one that did bring it initially to the table, and subsequently the person that's in charge of the Transportation Consortium, Chuck Seguin, brought it to the attention of council, it was brought back to the table. In fact, what's happening, if you know that corner a bit, there's a much more people coming to pick up their children. In fact, if you look at Saint Joseph, the line goes way back up, but that doesn't have anything to do with the crosswalk that we're thinking about at not Frank Casey, but Whitewoods. But it does create more traffic in that area. And so does the people that pick up their children at Whitewoods. So I highly recommend that we move forward with the plan and that we do not exclude any of the schools. We'll find out if the one on 3rd and Nipissing really warrants it. Because, you know, I don't know about the numbers. I know that they put hats off to the municipality. They put on lines showing distinctively where children can walk. And that was well done. Thank you, Jay, for having that done. But I highly recommend that we move forward and that we do hire 3 of them for OLS also, because it's our responsibility. I know OLS, they've taken it on their responsibility, but as it was explained to me through somebody that's much more knowledgeable in this than I am, she was basically telling me, she's an engineer in transportation. She basically told me that it was the responsibility of the municipality. So I would highly recommend that we move forward, that we try to see how it's going to work at Whitewoods, regardless of what. I am not saying that Sean is wrong, but I'm saying that it'll be better than it is now. And I know a transportation specialist that lives on my street. She has she's an engineer in transportation, and she stated that it'd be much better to have the person there than having nothing. So for the safety of our children, I know I brought this up last year. I would highly emphasize that this is something that council has to move forward with and to do it right away.
Thank you. I think it was Councillor Denise Senecal and then Councillor Lee Senecal. Is that what I?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, I'd just like to support this, the hiring of the guards. I think it's essential for the protection of our children. And I go by Nipissing and Third, and I have, it's scary when you see, Nipissing is quite a traffic area. So I'm just saying we should concentrate on Nipissing and Third and the one on Ethel, I guess, and any other one that comes forward. I think we should try for the spring session and see how that works out and go from there. Thank you.
It's settled.
Thank you, Councillor Elise.
Thank you very much. I was looking at the stat that was provided to us, and maybe I don't read it the right way, but it's about Ethel, which I completely support also, because I mean, that issue of crossing was there when I was there 12 years ago. So it's been ongoing, and I think we have putting a little bit more pressure than we did in the past. I definitely, because when you look at Third and Nipissing, I know the region very well. Was raised in that corner. My kid went both to Resurrection, and they decreased the age. The age group is younger than some other school, and traffic on Nipissing is a killer. I mean, it's terrible that the speed limit, and I mean, and they come from both way coming down for the lake. So if we put it in one class, we put it everywhere. And I think to a tryout, and I would not wait till spring. I would put it in December, because we're saving half the year right now, and that's going to give us up to the school is over all summer to analyze the data and see how it goes, and if we can reinstate it by next fall. Because right now, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, Jay, you would say it would be 3,000 instead of 6,000 if we do it in December, like for winter, approximately. I think it's money well spent. So I would support that to all the school that need it, and starting for the winter session.
Councillor Mallette.
I agree, Councillor Lees, and yeah, do it as soon as possible. Thank you.
So I think, Yvonne, did you want to say something? I think we've got quorum on this, just to go ahead. Yvonne?
I was just going to agree with Dan and the others.
Okay.
A little bit of cost, it's safety involved.
Okay, so I think more or less we have quorum on this item, and so I think I have done the emergency measures and public safety section, and it is 8 o'clock, but so I will hand it back to the.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Greatly appreciate it. Is there a mover and a seconder for a 10-minute break? Because that's what Councillor Chris is making reference to. So mover, Councillor Chris, seconded by Councillor Lees. Are there any objections pertaining to reconvening in 10 minutes after this health break? None?
No.
Carried.
8:12.
So I've got 8 o'clock, so 8:10 on my watch.
Look at my clock. Look at my clock.
I can see it.
Is stay on and just mute Dave, right, Mel?
There you go, Leo.
Yeah. I'm gonna leave the live stream running and the recording running.
Perfect, thank you. Conseil Leo, would you volunteer to chair community services?
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Are we ready to start?
So Joanne,
Yes.
there are a couple, there's a couple items. There's two tender awards that were delayed that should really be approved. I'm trying to find the other, just a sec here. I left it on my table here, just a. So from our perspective, the things that absolutely need to be done, unless Melanie has a planning discussion, is that there's awarding the I-3 and I-4. And basically, other than that, there would be my discussion about in closed session, just to get the conceptual authority to keep going with warehousing. So those are my three issues that it's not going past 9:30.
Okay, Madam Chair, through you, then we'll start with the snowmobile cup trails and then do with the I-3 and I-4. Is that okay with everyone?
Yes.
Okay.
Mel,
Conseil Leo, just a second.
Wait,
Melanie wants to say something, or clerk.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to point out, I do have one zoning bylaw, the one on Bay Street, that I do need to put through because there's a building permit waiting on it, as well as the disposition of the vacant land on the east side of Villeneuve, because I have a transaction closing, so I would need
Okay.
both.
So I'm gonna keep track of the time for community services and social health. I suspect that it should go very quickly, and then we move on to planning. There's probably gonna be one issue under planning, which is gonna entail a few discussions, and then we're moving on. I'll keep track of the time.
okay, thank you, Mayor. So we'll do the snowmobile club trails and the concern, and who was going to speak on this? Is that Jay?
I can speak, Mr. Chair.
Oh, okay, sorry, Mel, okay.
That's okay. I just, as you know, for the past couple of years, we've been working with the Snowmobile Club to use some of our roads for their trail system, and most recently up on the LeBlanc Road. Previously, they had asked to use that closed portion of Stewart Road. What has happened in the last year, causing a bit of concern, is people are cutting it instead of going down Stewart and turning left up LeBlanc, or up the LeBlanc. They're cutting the corner, they're cutting across private land, causing a concern to private landowner. There's been beer bottles thrown and whatnot. And just before we enter into another agreement with the Snowmobile Club, I just wanted to bring it to council's attention that there have been private landowner concerns raised with regard to this arrangement that we've made with the club. So I'm just leaving it to council to discuss.
Okay, who's going to speak? Councilor Rowley?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was speaking with the representative of the Snowmobile Club, and he was asking if we could plow just a portion of the road that's being used, so to accommodate the snowmobile on the side, which they require about 9.5 feet. So let's say 10 feet. The rest we could plow, and also not be too generous on the sand to accommodate the snowmobile also. And that should alleviate all problems in the area with the snowmobile, because this accesses the Sturgeon Falls area, and it's the only place that they can pass to have access. If this is not agreed upon, then Sturgeon Falls will no longer have a snowmobile trail. So it's very important that is there is a compromise with the municipality to let them use a portion of the road and not sand it and just not open it too wide.
Okay,
Thank
and
you.
that's going east from LeBlanc Road on that road that we close all winter. Jay, you would like some, and then Jay, now I'll go to Denny after.
Sure, I just, just an administrative comment, but a question as well. The issue is the eastern portion on Stewart Road between LeBlanc and the highway, and northerly on Stewart Road going up LeBlanc, right?
That's correct.
So I have spoken to the manager of Public Works and discussed some of the issues with him, and he's fairly comfortable and confident that he can work something out with the snowmobile trail. Probably in terms of communication and signage, I think it needs to be a partnership with the snowmobile trail and the municipality. But first of all, the blade width is 12 feet, not 9.5. So it would be 12 feet. But you have to understand that if we turn and go north on Nipissing or north on LeBlanc with 12 feet, that's not so bad because there's only one user, and we had that discussion about opening that. So we have opened it. The other issue, though, is to ensure that people understand that if we do this, we have to clearly indicate going east from LeBlanc to Highway 64 on Stewart, is that we are opening up that road for the snowmobile trail, and we're opening up on one lane for local access to allow perhaps the farmers to handle it on a minimum basis. We need to communicate with them because they have raised concerns, but that we would not be opening it up to regular traffic because what would happen is it'll end up being a one-way with the obvious 12 feet and the portion that's needed by the snowmobile trail. So I think with proper signage and good communication, I think we can rectify those issues. Sean and I spoke at length on numerous occasions this afternoon, and I believe this is fixable if we're able to address it, knowing what the concerns are of the individual, certainly. But there was also the concerns of the farm owners as well, wanting to access their land. I think we can meet those both those needs. You talked about us trying to be creative to solve a solution. I think this one here is doable according to our Public Works manager.
Okay, thanks, Jay. Councillor Denny? Councillor Denny?
Yes, sure, Mr. Chair. We went into this agreement, I think it was 2 years ago. And that road on Stewart used to be closed to traffic as a cost-cutting measure for the town. So I have an issue. We agreed to provide the Skidoo Trail on our road for the trail people at their expense, right? So now we're getting involved into a situation as a public entity. So we're causing expenses to our municipality through the taxes, and we shouldn't get involved in this. This is not our thing to solve. The West Nipissing Snowmobile Club has the authority, or they can ask the farmer to put a snow fence in there. And I'm totally against reopening a road because the Skidoo Trails want to use it. What is the roads are for our residents? They're not for this private enterprises. And I believe in user fees. I don't think we should be using tax money to open up a road for a Skidoo club. I think it's the onus is on the Skidoo Club, like they do all over the province, to manage their trails. And if they have to have somebody to patrol, that's fine. They should patrol it. Or if they want to put a snow fence or whatever they want to do, I don't think that we should get involved in it as a municipality. We already allowed them to use our road. Now they want us to open it up for them. And where does it end? And then that's not fair for the taxpayers of the municipality. We're all paying for this, and this is a private club. That's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Denis. Councillor Rowley, Councillor Lees.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I think there's a misunderstanding there. the snowmobile club would prefer that road not open at all. The road is being open to accommodate our resident. Because if it was the choice of the snowmobile club, they would rather have that road not open. So like I'm saying, and not sanded. So we're not incurring any costs because of the snowmobile club. We're incurring costs because of a resident asking to have that road plowed. Now we just need to work together with the snowmobile club to make sure that the snowmobiles stay on the designated trails. They've been putting signs up saying that stay on the designated trails. And this is what we have to try to encourage. They've been even calling the Ontario Provincial Police on the issue, trying to resolve problems of snowmobile getting off their trail onto the farmer's field. And the reason is because the road was open wide and sanded heavily. Snowmobiles do not like to go on roads that are sanded. So obviously they'll go in across the ditch and onto the farmer's field. So if we could work in conjunction with the snowmobile club and the public works, that would work great, and we would not incur any cost whatsoever. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Councillor Lees and then Councillor Denis.
Okay, I think, yeah, because what I think Councillor Rowley is talking about, a couple of years ago, we had the resident that was had the property right at the end of Stewart, correct me if I'm wrong, but was only using it in the summertime, I think. And then they moved there permanently and the road was not maintained. So that's why the road started to be maintained. It's been maintained for a resident. So
Yes, you're right,
Corey was
Councillor Lees.
not, and it was pretty, that was put back into place to maintain it because of that resident was using it all year round. So, I mean, we're not incurring any more costs that we did in last year or year before, because that's the way it was before, but not for the last couple of years.
If I remember correctly, Councillor Lees, yeah, you're right. Councillor Denis?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, I guess I have to walk back a little bit. I'm talking about Stewart Road. You guys are talking about LeBlanc Road. Is that correct?
Yeah,
The
well,
Stewart-
it's LeBlanc and then Stewart Road, yes.
Stewart,
But
there was never.
LeBlanc Road, roads continue from,
I know, Leo. I'm just saying that Stewart Road was never plowed.
No.
Okay? So are they asking us to plow Stewart Road?
no,
No, just LeBlanc Road, and that's what we're doing.
yeah, north.
Yeah. So if they're cutting the corner and the road is open, is that gonna solve their issue?
Yes. If I remember correctly, that's what they want, yes. And the proper signage.
Okay, so I guess I misunderstood this. We are opening LeBlanc Road, I know that, but I thought they were speaking of Stewart. So I'll take that back when I said that. So
Okay, thank you.
I'm just
So
saying
all
that, I just want to comment that we shouldn't incur any extra expenses for that issue. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. So I guess we're all on the same page, so go ahead, ask staff to do the signage with Sean and Jay, and then with the snowmobile club and, oh, I'm sorry, Madam Mayor.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm really confused with this because I think Conseil Denis was right, because the issue that we got from a farmland owner, Mr. Watkinson, has raised the issue that users of the snowmobile club are trespassing on his property. And what he is recommending as one of the solutions is to be able to plow and create a natural barrier on the road to hopefully encourage the snowmobilers to travel Stewart Road instead of going on his farm field. So that was my understanding, and that's the issue that we need to resolve. We're not plowing Stewart right now, but the request is, please plow it, maybe not as frequently, create a barrier. So this way it's something visible for the snowmobilers to navigate on Stewart and hopefully not incur damage on his farm field.
No, I think we need more information there, Jay.
Well, regardless, I think that the issue is resolvable. I think there's an issue that's valid from the individual. And I believe in speaking to our manager of Public Works that we could work and find a solution to ensure either the snowmobile club does it, we do it, but we will resolve the issue this year.
Okay, if I may on that note, Mr. Chair, will we be informing Mr. Watkinson what the plan will be? Because we're gonna be working with the snowmobile club, but we also want to be, the information that we got is, he's raised, through several emails of problems, and it was hoping that we would work with him and the snowmobile club to resolve this problem.
Jay?
Okay, so I'm not aware of who he's raised it with or who he hasn't. So certainly when we come up with a solution, we'll inform Mr. Watkinson.
Okay.
Also, okay, yes, Madam Mayor?
There's another technical issue pertaining to the snowmobile club being denied access to a past location. And that was brought up. That's at the end of Millerin Road.
It's not on
And
the agenda.
Yeah, it's not the same topic though. Huh?
Not on
well,
the agenda.
it's not, okay, well, if I may,
Mhm.
I was,
Order, please, Mr. Chair. It's not part of the discussion. Let's
Yes,
stick
you're right, Councillor Dan. As part of the discussion, maybe you can bring him back at a subsequent meeting there, Madam Mayor.
I'd like to appeal your ruling, Mr. Chair, because what I would like to say, not that I want to entertain the discussion this evening. I received the question October 1st. I asked for it to be brought up to council. I was told that it was on the agenda for this evening. So if there's no objection, I will bring it to the next meeting, because I think if we want to work with the snowmobile club and that they have good trails and they have access to different locations, it's something that we need to be aware. And I think you're all aware, because I CC'd all of you.
Okay, so Mel, put it on the next agenda. Okay. Councillor Denis?
Yes, I guess we haven't clarified if, is it Stewart Road that's being asked to be plowed or not? Let's clarify that. And my second issue is, is he gonna come back? Is Jay gonna come back to council before he signs an agreement here? I'd like to
Jay?
see the final agreement before it's signed. And I'd like to know if a Stewart Road is being plowed or asked to be plowed. Is that
The
the one or
agreement-
not?
The
Jake?
agreement, if I'm not mistaken, Mel, the agreement's automatically renewable.
That is correct.
Yeah, so we're bringing the issue up, and we indicated to the snowmobile club that we wanted, I mean, there's out clauses, but we wanted to have a conversation. What I'm telling you is that this matter is resolvable. It becomes operational. We know what the issues are, and we're going to fix it. And so, you know, that's all I have to say, other than, yeah.
Okay, Yvonne, Councillor Yvonne?
I have to agree with Jay. I'm sure that he's put something together with the Director of Public Works. And I agree that there should be created a barrier to avoid having traffic on the fields. And it's not a big deal. So I think we should let Jay handle this with the Director of Public Works so that we can resolve this problem with respect to snowmobiles on private property. And he certainly has a good idea with that. So I would let him and the Director of Public Works resolve that issue, and it'll certainly make everybody happy. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, and I think we have to move on because the clock is ticking for our curfew.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to comment here. Through you, I feel this thing is being swiped under the rug here. I want to know if Stewart Road is the road that's being plowed or not. I would like to see the agreement that he's going to sign, even if it's renewable. Before he renews the agreement, I would like him to come to council and show us the agreement. What's wrong with that?
I don't know what.
That's all I'm asking. And I'm asking, is Stewart Road to be plowed or not? That's what Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mayor Joanne?
I understand where Councillor Denis is going. I think we've brought up two issues that we want to work with the Snowmobile Club. The copy of the agreement that we were provided as additional information yesterday identified that the agreement that we had approved last year was from December 2019, ending up to April. We had also adopted a resolution saying that the mayor and the CEO has the authority to sign this agreement. That was done last year. So I think right now we're before the month of December. And yeah, bring it back and provide us exactly what the plan is, and everyone's on the same page and we all have the same information.
We can have it for November meeting for.
Well, actually, what you should be doing is finding out if that's the wish of council, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So who's in agreement with the CEO to get an agreement where we're talking with Sean and all this Snowmobile Club and Mr. I forget his name.
I agree.
Who's in favor? Okay, we have quorum. Okay, we have
yeah.
consensus. Thank you.
Yeah, but I mean, I think there's,
Yes, Councilor Dean?
I think there's two different things we're talking about. I mean, the agreement is there and it's done, it's good. There's no question that it's good for next till April, whatever. That the agreement is done, but there's nothing wrong to be able to have a copy and to look at it. And apparently there's one right now that was provided. I've been looking at the extra, the addendum, and both my thing are full. So I think there's nothing wrong to be able to say, okay, the agreement to answer a simple question, is it Stewart Road? Will there be a cost? So we'll be talking about it in the next, another time. I don't.
There certainly isn't anything wrong. I'm not trying to shove anything down anybody's throat. I think that it is Stewart Road, but that's what we entered into an agreement with. My point is a point of procedure with respect to if you're going, I'm trying to get clarity. And if there's 5 people that agree with a position taken, then that gives me and staff direction. And I just want to clarify that that's your position, because what I heard from Councillor Yvon, Councillor whatever. So I just want to know if there's 5. I mean, they're valid positions, but if they're not agreed upon by council, I'm not going to move unless council directs me to move.
Well, there was Councillor Yvon, Councillor Rowley, myself, Councillor Chris, and Councillor Dan. So there's 5.
Okay.
Okay. So we have to move.
Councillor,
new business.
Councillor Leo, I have another comment.
Yes.
Can I comment?
Yes.
I'd like to know if Stewart Road is involved.
Well,
Did
don't
you, from Mr. Barbeau, did he just say that?
Yes, Stewart Road is involved.
So that's an extra expense,
We
no?
provided an agreement, Councillor Senecal, 2 years ago, provided an agreement to the snowmobile club who had difficulty because they weren't given access to a landowner. They came to us saying they were in trouble, and could we provide them with some assistance? That was actual Stewart Road. So my answer to you.
No, they asked to use it as a trail, not as a road. We even put
as a
cement
trail.
block.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Pardon?
That's what
It is. Yeah.
That's why.
The trail.
If I remember correctly, that's why this is a Snowmobile Club using that road, not a road, not vehicle traffic.
Well, we never agreed to plow that road.
It's off the road.
Doesn't matter. They asked to use half the road, and we agreed. And we said all the residents can use that trail from Highway 64 to LeBlanc Road. That was the agreement. They put cement blocks so only skidoos can go in there, but it was never plowed. So if we have to plow that road, that's an expense. I want that clarified.
Mr. Chair?
That's your point. Okay.
Mr. Chair, if I may?
Yes.
Yes,
That's the
okay. If the road is being plowed, it's not for the snowmobile trail. It's for the farmer, to accommodate the farmer to stop the snow machine from going on his land. So if there's a cost incurred, it's by a resident and not the snowmobile trail.
That's right.
Well,
I hope that clarifies.
Well, if
Okay.
there was no snowmobile trail there, we wouldn't have a cost. We never plowed that road. There's no reason to plow it. Put a snow fence. It's not our responsibility.
Rolly makes a good point, Mr. Chair. It's not for the club. It's for that, to accommodate the farmer in that situation. And we're not plowing the whole road. We're only doing a half of it. So, and I agree. Let's correct the problem that the resident is having. And it's not a big deal. It's not gonna be a big deal. We're not
Okay.
doing the whole road.
You know
We
what?
already have 5. We have 5 already.
Okay, we discussed this enough right now, so, okay, let's move on and, we'll go to, new business, I3, tender for exterior improvement of recreation center. Who's gonna speak on this? Is that, Stefan? Jay?
We only have one
Rosemel?
item, Consiglio, we only have one item
Oui.
under community services. Oh, you're going on to social health?
No, it's the,
New business.
for, I guess it's through, I3 for new business for the tender.
What? Okay, you're jumping, you're
Okay,
done.
Consiglio,
Oui.
we're done with community services, that committee. Now you move on to social health, social
Okay.
service and health. And that's you that already chairs that committee.
Yes. Okay, so we have the letter of the Sainte Alliance, the request for assistance, read Charlotte's buyback. We all got a copy. Any comments? Madam Mayor?
I sit on that committee and last year they did a campaign for the month of November. And what they were doing is they were encouraging residents in buying back the sharps. There was a program that was available in the community. It was very successful. I remember when we talked about our sharp kiosk downtown, the volume of sharps that were being returned to the Sainte Alliance in 1 month was phenomenal. I think the month of January last year was like 1,400 sharps returned. So what they're looking is support from the municipality in promoting the program. They'll give us the information if we can advocate and support the initiative. They're also looking for a small donation. When I asked what they were looking for as far as a small donation, they were looking within a range of $200. And the $200 would be used to buy $5 gift cards from local grocery stores that they would hand over to the individuals that would be going to Sainte Alliance to be able to return sharps instead of having these disposed in the community or throughout the municipality.
Okay, that's a good point. So your suggestion of $200, is that what you're suggesting, Madam Mayor?
Yes, that's what they identified at the committee.
Okay,
I agree.
okay, Councillor Yvonne,
I agree on this, Mr. I think it's an initiative.
Councillor Chris,
I agree.
Councillor Dan, you agree?
I agree also.
Okay, so I guess we have consensus. Okay, we're fine.
I totally agree too, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, thank you. This is it for me, Madam Mayor.
Okay, merci, Conseiller Léo. On procède avec la séance régulière with the regular council meeting. We move on to planning under E1, and I'll pass it on to the clerk for the resolutions. Is there, Mel, do you need a mover and a seconder for every resolution,
I
or
do.
you do? Okay, so mover and a seconder, Conseiller Lise, Conseiller Dan.
And that's for all of them?
If you wish.
Yeah.
There's no disagreement. I would recommend
No,
yes.
I'm fine. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It is moved by Councillor Lee Senecal and seconded by Councillor Ravita. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2020-50, being a bylaw to accept, assume, and dedicate lands for public highway purposes, shall come into force on the day it is passed. Part of the east half of Lot 9 in Concession B, Geographic Township Caldwell, being part of the traveled road known as Chemin Poirier Road, Verner.
Any objections? None? Carried, adopted.
Il est proposé par Conseiller Lee Senecal et appuyé par Conseiller Ravita Be it resolved that bylaw number 2020-53, being a bylaw to accept, assume, and dedicate lands for public highway purposes, shall come into force and take effect on the day it is passed. Part of the west half of Lot 7 in Concession 2, Part 2, 36R 14440 in the Township of Badgerot, being part of the traveled road known as Chemin Lorraine Road in Verner.
Any questions, concerns? None? Carried. Adopté.
Il est proposé par Conseiller Lise Sénécal, appuyé par Conseiller Revita, be it resolved that bylaw number 2020-54, being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw number 2014-45 to rezone certain lands at 37 Tomico Road in Crystal Falls from rural to general commercial exception zone 3 shall come into force and take effect on the day it is passed.
Any concerns or questions? None? Carried. Adopté.
It is moved by Councillor Lise Sénécal and seconded by Councillor Revita. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2020-55, being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw number 2014-45 to rezone certain lands located at 12127 Highway 17 in Sturgeon Falls from residential 4 zone to highway commercial C2 zone shall come into force and take effect on the day it is passed.
Any questions or comments? None? Carried. Adopté.
Il est proposé par Conseiller Lise Sénécal, appuyé par Conseiller Dan Revita. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2020-56, being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw 2014-45 to rezone certain lands located on Bay Street in Sturgeon Falls from heavy industrial M2 zone to light industrial M1 zone shall come into force and take effect on the day it is passed.
Any questions or comments? None? Carried. Adopté.
It is moved by Councillor Lise Sénécal and seconded by Councillor Revita. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2020-57, being a deeming bylaw to designate lots 170 and 171 registered plan 40 not to be lots on a registered plan of subdivision shall come into force and take effect on the day it is passed.
Any questions, concerns? None? Carried. Adopté.
Il est proposé par Conseiller Lise Sénécal, appuyé par Conseiller Revita. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2020-61, being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw number 2014-45 to rezone certain lands located on Old Highway 17 in Verner from rural residential to rural residential exception zone 3 shall come into force and take effect on the day it is passed.
Okay, so before proceeding to a vote on this one, this is exactly the section where we received a petition, a total of 91 signatures, which identifies individuals that are not supportive of this project. So customarily, we table the petition, but because it's the same subject matter, we discuss it at the same time. So are there any questions or comments pertaining to the petition? Councilor Rowley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As we all know, this is taking part in my ward, and there is a lot of interest in this file, and a lot of which may not be planning related. However, some might be. I have concerns for the environment perspective. Deer Lake, which flows into the river, is frozen to development for tropic level 3. This means that septic system must be 1,000 feet from shoreline. Verve River, which has direct impact on Verner drinking water and has no restriction. I would argue that the river is much more questionable in terms of water quality. My recommendation would be to, given that the level of scrutiny by affected parties, I would recommend a deferral to ensure that the proper due diligence has been exercised. There may be additional environmental issues that could affect council decision. And I also would like to have this a recorded vote, please, on the deferral.
Okay, so I'll ask you to rephrase. You want the subject matter to be deferred due to environmental issues. So what you're seeking is reassurance of exactly what would be any potential impact of the development of this project. Now, is it fair to say to the clerk, the planner, when it was brought to the planning board, that was one of the concerns that was identified. Is it fair that we ask the planner to provide that to us, or that we proceed with a deferral?
I would like to proceed with a deferral, please,
Okay,
if
so
possible.
I'll follow the procedural bylaw, which states basically there's a motion on the table for deferral based on the request of getting more environmental information pertaining to this file. So you're moving it. Conseiller Dan is seconding. You're the seconder for that resolution. So I'm going to call it to a vote where a majority needs to support the request for deferral. So I need to
Please.
see a show of hand for deferral. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so the subject matter will be deferred, brought back at our next meeting with additional information for environmental issues.
Madam Mayor, if I may, since
We're no longer discussing the issue. The deferral has been adopted and the request for the deferral.
yes, but the deferral, the date of the deferral, since
Well, that's what I'm saying.
COVID-19.
At the next meeting,
No,
just a second, I'm chairing this right now. There's a request for environmental information, so I will ask the clerk, when is it realistic to get information pertaining to environmental issues with this project?
I would like to, I guess I would have to know specifically what information is being sought in order to give a timeline on on when it could be brought back, because I'm not exactly certain of what is exactly being questioned.
With
Okay,
respect, if I can interject, Your Worship, it's not necessarily to bring back the environmental concerns. It's just the fact that there hasn't been, there's a lot of interest and consideration on the file as well, and there's a lot of interested parties, including us. And so from our perspective, to be able to bring this back, I would respectfully request not next meeting, but the meeting after that.
Well, I
So the
was
second
gonna-
meeting in November.
I was gonna recommend in a month from now, so this way it gives
Yes.
the opportunity to
Thank
bring
you very
back everything that's needed for constructive discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so in a month from now. We move on to correspondence and accounts.
Respectfully, Madam Mayor, does someone want to, can we go the same direction and get a mover and seconder for all of them? And-
Leo?
Leo?
Theo as a mover, and Nelson
Chris?
as a seconder.
Merci. Il est proposé par Conseil Mallette, appuyé par Conseil Fisher, be it resolved that the minutes of the meeting of council held on October the 6th, 2020 be adopted as presented.
Are there any questions or comments?
I have a
Conseil
question.
Ali? Conseil Ali?
Am I on? Okay. Well, I am reading E1.I guess, change to the integrated commissioner. I don't know if there's a portion missing, but it said following discussion and then it stopped there. I think it was status quo, it was voted, well, it was 4-4, so it was defeated. It was status quo that was maintaining on that one. I think, I don't know if it's not finished. Because before we went,
Okay,
into
so-
that thing was done.
That's item, I'm sorry, Madame Senecal, which item was that again? Sorry.
It's the one on the minutes for the October 6th. Is that E, like A, B, C, D, E, English, like E?
Mhm.
Okay, -1-E, E, I don't know what you see that, I mix them up with both of them. E, like imagine. So it's E
Oh.
like, okay,
You're
So it's-
absolutely right. I didn't finish the sentence.
so status quo.
Yes,
Because
for
it
following
was-
discussion, it was agreed that
Yeah.
the status quo be maintained.
Yeah, just
My apologies.
oh, no problem. Hey,
Are there any other questions or comments? Can I just ask a clarification because I'm confused, just for clarity? Under E1D, request for relief on water bills. Did we not agree to some type of report for individuals that were completely shut down during COVID, or did we just say no, nothing? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
I thought we had agreed maybe that there'd be some type of info that would come back.
No, I don't think
No,
so.
no.
I think it was at 4-4 and it just died.
Yes,
Yes,
exactly.
Jose Alice?
Well, I thought that Councillor Fisher, you had agreed on that one and it was 5-4.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only way to, it would be to revise that portion and come back so we can deal with that another time. We're not gonna argue tonight. But I think it was 5-4 and it was specifically different, specific to see, and Alicia had agreed to go and bring a report back at some point of time.
This was water. No, I don't think so. It's I think it's even in the Tribune that this one. It's
Oh,
the last-
well, I mean,
You know what, Jose Alice, just a second, I wasn't clear and I can always go back and watch the YouTube, and if it is different, I can bring it back. But for the interim, we can keep the minutes as is, as amended, with what was added by Jose Alice.
yeah, I think we should.
We're
be
okay with
revised.
that?
Well.
No, the minutes are revised with your section, but I'm not gonna debate the issue right now for E1D. I thought there was reference that it would be coming back with some info. I may be incorrect, but I'll check the YouTube. So there's a mover and a seconder. Are there any other questions pertaining to the minutes? If there's none, as amended, those in favor? Carried.
It is moved by Councillor Millet and seconded by Councillor Fisher. Be it resolved that the minutes of the meeting of council held on September the 15th, 2020 be adopted as presented.
Are there any questions or comments? I just want to highlight that we had a section under Promenade du Lac that it would come back at the end of October. I understand COVID, I understand all the issue. As long as we don't lose track of the element of it coming back. Melanie?
It will be on the first meeting of November.
Oh, thank you so much. And there's also another issue here that I'd like to clarify. It had to do with section D5C on page 3 with the update for the Verner sidewalk. When we had that discussion, we were made aware of what was the technical issue for not moving forward with the construction of the Verner sidewalk. We were informed that we needed the compliance assessment by the ministry. Then I had made, there was discussion about a reserve, and there was discussion, no need for a reserve, because the minutes are going to reflect that we're going to move forward with this project. If it's not this year, it's going to be next year. That's what I sort of understood. Maybe I'm just seeking clarity, because I want to make sure that if it is the case, that the minutes do reflect the will of what council had agreed to. Councillor Alice?
And I think you're right about that too, because I think people did not want to have it as reserve, no need to do so. We just have to say that it's going to be done for sure next year, whatever part of the budget. So I think, and then that can be checked too, because it's recorded. So we don't have to agree on that, but to be checked and bring it back.
Okay, Madam Mayor, just Madam Mayor.
Leo Rowley had his hand up, excuse me, Leo.
Yeah, if I could recall right, also, Alyssa guaranteed us it was money from gas tax. that was
That's
coming
right.
through that, yeah.
And that's
So-
why, like, the minutes sort of, if we were to go back next year to these minutes, it wouldn't be clear in my mind that we had agreed that that project would be carried out.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, that was my same comment with gas tax. So we have the money.
Okay.
And
Melanie?
yeah, so at the end of the last sentence, I can just add in, council agreed to move forward and to complete the Verner sidewalk as well. If approvals can approve, to complete the Verner sidewalk in 2020, if approvals can be obtained and completed in 2021 in any event.
in any event, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so we're all in agreement with what has been identified as an amendment?
That's nice.
Okay,
perfect, it works.
so if there's no objection, carried, adoptee.
It is moved by Councillor Fisher and seconded by Councillor Millet. Be it resolved that minutes of the West Nipissing Planning Advisory Committee meeting held on August the 24th be adopted.
Any comments or questions? None? Carried, adoptee.
It is moved by Councillor Millet and seconded by Councillor Fisher. Be it resolved that the minutes of the following boards and committees be received. West Nipissing Committee of Adjustment, August 24th, 2020. Eau Chateau Board of Management, June 17th, 2020. West Nipissing Public Library Board, June 11th, 2020. West Nipissing Police Service Board, March 11th, 2020. And District of Nipissing Social Services Administration Board, June 24th, 2020.
Are there any questions or any comments pertaining to any of the minutes provided to us? Just a very quick question pertaining to the police board. I believe this is the first set of minutes that we do receive from this board. Is that correct, Councillor Chris and Conseiller Denis, since you're two members of council on this board?
Yeah, this is correct. So the actual, the minutes from the previous year are actually with the municipality. We had a bit of a gap where we had some people resign and we had to go back and redo the minutes. So actually for audit purposes, all the minutes are in with the municipality and this one got thrown in there. So as a start. So yes, so it's an improvement.
Okay. And it doesn't identify in the minutes when's your next scheduled meeting. Once that date is identified, can you share it with all of us?
It is tomorrow night.
Oh, tomorrow night.
Yes.
Okay, do we advertise these?
It should be up on the board. I hope so, but I'm not 100% sure. And
Okay.
I mean, we, as much as we can right now, given the, COVID or whatever, certainly the Tribune knows and that kind of thing. We do our best.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? If there's none, carried, adoptee.
It is moved by Councillor Millet and seconded by Councillor Fisher. Be it resolved that the accounts payable disbursement sheets for July and August 2020 be received as presented.
I have an issue.
I heard a voice.
Yes, I have an issue.
Okay, Conseiller Denis.
And after,
For you, Madam Mayor, I bring you, I guess Alicia is not online. I'd like
She's
to
on
bring.
vacation.
Pardon me? Oh, she's on.
She's on holidays.
I'm not sure if someone can, maybe Jay can do it. On page 3 of the July disbursements, we go to line,
July, which one, Councillor Denis? Sorry.
We're talking the
Disbursement.
resolution for July.
July 2020, page 3. Everybody got that? Let's go down to line 11. It's Letter B at Alain Contractors, River Valley site cost, 4,237. I'd like to see what that's about. Can anybody answer, Jay?
Jay, you're on mute.
I can
No,
answer that one if you want.
Okay, well, since the disbursement was done to you, Conseiller Burley, maybe an explanation pertaining to the question asked?
Sure. Sure, that was work being performed at the River Valley waste dump. The fire line that was approved on the budget this year, it had to be done, and you pretty well have to be qualified with chainsaws to do that. There was a lot of tree removing, and I've been managing that dump, doing filling it up, burning brush, pushing steel, covering up the dump since prior to amalgamation, so 99.
Thank you, Rolly. I didn't know you were a contractor for the town of the municipality of West Nipissing. I guess you did declare a conflict of interest at some point
For
doing work with the West Nipissing as a town councillor and a contractor at the same time. Isn't there a conflict there?
Well, Councilor Denis, I just need to identify that when it comes to a conflict of interest, only individuals self-disclose. It's not to anyone.
I'm just asking if you did disclose it, that's all. Okay, I'll rest.
Are there any other questions or any other comments, Councilor Elise?
Yes, again, I don't want to pick on River now, because on page, the one in July, your page, let me see, there's an amount for 20 something thousand dollars. If I'm trying to find it now. So I know it was July. Let me, yeah, July, page 8, 20,793.75. And then on August, that was set for maintenance, for the facility maintenance and River Valley Fire Hall, which I understand there's maintenance. But in August, also an amount of 7,367 on page 2. So for a total of a little bit more than $28,000 maintenance for 2 months. Is that capital project? Was it part of our budget or just simply maintenance? It seemed very high to maintenance, so they must have done something pretty big maintenance. So I was curious about that.
Well, I can tell you through you, Your Worship, I can tell you that it might be a miscode. I'm not sure it's maintenance. What it is a necessary replacement to a tank, an underground tank. So River Valley had a tank removed with respect to, where they fill their tankers. And that had been dragging on for a year, and it's a carryover. And so we found a solution, and I think it was imperative to provide fire suppression for the River Valley area. The 7,000, I know there were other repairs that were necessary to that building. I can only assume that it would be that, but I do know that one of the major expenses was to refurbish the building and the tank for the water in that building.
So gee, yeah, okay, fine. Was it part of the capital project or it just came?
Can't tell you that. I think it was a carryover from last year. So with Elisa not here, I'm not aware.
Okay.
But I think it was a necessary expenditure, but I don't know. I'd have to look into it and I can get back to you, Councillor Elise.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, so all of council will be informed, right, Jay?
If all council wants to, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, the fact that it was brought up in an open forum, I think we should be informed.
I have no problem informing all of council at the same time. It's my preference.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions or any other comments? Councilor Yvon?
Again, in July, I'm not sure what's happening here, maybe I'm not reading this well, but it's on page 3, the last item at the bottom of the page. It says West Nipissing Chamber of Commerce rental lease building, tourist information, $1,600. Are we paying them $1,600 or?
Well, that's the disbursement, so.
I'd have to get back to you on that. I'm not aware of what that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So if you want to list those things and send me or Lisa an email. Lisa took this week off and it wasn't planned. So typically she has the knowledge of the disbursement report.
Okay. Thank you.
Brought back.
Okay, any other questions or comments? None? Coming back to the resolution for both the disbursements for the month of July and the disbursements for the month of August. Carried, adopted.
It is moved by Councillor Millet and seconded by Councillor Fisher. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2020-51, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2019-94 as amended to include provisions for electronic participation for council, local boards and other committees.
Excuse me, Mel, you miss H, notice of motion. I know there's none, but I do have one after reading some material about it.
Just a second here. Before proceeding to other sections, we still had correspondence that came from the Minister of Infrastructure.
Okay, but fine, Madam Mayor, but I mean, we were up to number I1, bylaw 2020-51, so we had.
My mistake. I skipped over the correspondence.
Okay.
My mistake.
It's okay, it's okay.
We're under F6, okay, and we have a copy of the email, which was a response from the Minister of Infrastructure. It had to do with a delegation that both Conseil Denis and myself attended. It had to do with the Nature Trails Bridge, and this is the answer that was provided pertaining to the request that was done. It does make reference to Infrastructure Ontario loan program that can provide affordable long-term fixed rate for certain projects. I was just going to recommend, if council is in agreement, that additional information pertaining to the Nature Trail Bridge, if there was a loan, because we talked about a community improvement program with the users, but if there was a loan, how could that work out and what would be the impact of the cost of the project for the users? If Jay, is that clear? If council agrees, it can come back and we can have more of a financial analysis. If it could be an option, a financial option to explore for this project.
Certainly.
Any other comments or questions? None? OK, là, on a fini la section de correspondance correspondence and accounts. Et là, maintenant, on peut, we have nothing under unfinished business. Là, on procède avec new business, mais Conseil, what were you making reference to?
I was talking about H motion. I would like to put a motion on the table and I will send it to you, Mel, after that. I just wrote it before because I read, I did not have opened my my tablet and I read Jay's email regarding a discussion about how to proceed with meeting. So which have to do with that. So I would like to put the motion and I'll send you, if you need the original, I'll go and bring it tomorrow. I had prepared, I can read it right now. And so it's a motion regarding, let me see, the title is, I would like to reinstate the 3 meetings per month. And my explanation is, whereas on November 2019, as per a request made by Councillor Fisher to amend our procedure bylaw, which include 2, and our his ward, move from 3 meetings a month to 2 meetings a month. And whereas in November 2019, as per directive by council to staff, we received a memo from our CEO providing the information requested and his recommendation, which was to, again, his word, to have 2 combined meetings from 3 to 2 meetings per month. And also, whereas in November 2019, council amended its procedure bylaw to decrease the monthly meeting from 3 to 2 meetings per month. Whereas since November 2019, council has frequently required to adopt a resolution to extend its curfew beyond 9:30 p.m. Whereas special meeting were canceled due to lack of quorum. Therefore, I am requesting to reinstate 3 meetings per month to be able to do business. So I will submit it to you after. And
Thank
I
you,
think
Councillor.
I did what I was supposed to do, and we'll have a discussion at next meeting, I guess. Thank you.
Point of order on this issue. You have to be a prevailing member to bring it back. You have to be a prevailing member.
Okay, so then I have, because it's on the, excuse, no,
Just a second, please. The point of order, I'm chairing this meeting. Right now, we're at the month of October. There's reference to November 2019. So, you know what? It does state in the 12 months preceding a decision that's been made. So the timing of when the discussion will occur will be within that time frame of our procedural bylaw.
because it was the
And that's
17th.
the ruling, Conseil Elise. Okay, thank you. So I'm just gonna ask the clerk, the formality, do you want the original copy or can it be emailed or the complexity?
I'm fine with an email.
Okay,
And,
I would-
and do I understand correctly that the direction is to check the date on the original amendment to ensure that the motion is brought back subsequent to the 1 year?
yes, I would, I don't have any problem, but I knew by the end of November, the year will
Okay,
be.
so the
Thank
point of
you.
order was
Okay.
raised, the ruling was given, and then direction given on how to submit the motion. We're okay with that? Okay. Maintenant, on procède avec affaire nouvelle, new business.
Mover and seconder for the new business items, if I could.
Okay, show of hand for a mover, so we can.
Mayo?
Is there a seconder for the resolutions? Okay, I need a show of hand. Conseil Elise, seconder.
It is moved by Councillor Mallette and seconded by Councillor Lee Senecal. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2020-51, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2019-94 as amended to include provisions for electronic participation for council, local boards, and other committees, shall come into force and take effect on the day it is passed.
Any comments, questions? Conseiller Yvon, Conseil Elise?
Well, I don't agree with this. I think that when everything gets back to normal, I think we should proceed as to where, the way we were proceeding in the past. So I'm sorry, I don't agree with this.
Okay. Conseil Elise?
I'll make it very short. I don't agree with it. Also, we have the special meeting for the urgent, if something urgent happened to cancel. I think it's too much leeway. I think the CEO and the mayor can make a decision to declare an emergency, so I don't support it either.
Conseiller Denis? Conseiller Denis?
Oui, j'étais juste après unmuté, là, un peu de patience, là. Okay, through you, Madam Chair, là, c'est juste que I don't agree with the electronic unless it's an emergency that we really need to. I really don't agree with phones. That should be off limits. But I think we should return as soon as possible to the in-person meetings. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any comments? And I know we had that discussion pertaining to this resolution, and I do know myself, I stress the issue that by doing electronic meetings, we're not accessible on Eastlink, or we have a large population of our seniors right now that are not able to view our meetings. So unfortunately, I don't support it for that reason either. So the motion is defeated.
It is moved by Councillor Mallette and seconded by Councillor Lee Senecal. Be it resolved that the mayor and the chief administrative officer be authorized to sign the 2020 solid waste collection and landfill site management agreement with West Nipissing Environmental Services for the municipality of West Nipissing.
Any questions or comments? None. I have one comment and one question. The first comment, when you look at the agreement, the curbside residential solid waste for Sturgeon, Cache Bay, Springerfield, Crystal Falls, and Pedley, I'm making the assumption, and I think that's the correct info, but I want to reconfirm. Berner and Leding are not listed because it's being done by local contractors, right?
Sure.
Okay, I see. Thank you, Jay. And the third bullet where it states recycling collection, activities from outlying areas. I know this agreement has a fee that's attached to the municipality for 2020, but last year, council did approve that we would have recycling bins in Leding and Cache Bay. Now, I understand delays. I understand COVID. There's been so many priorities. but will these recycling units in Living and Cache Bay be installed before the year end? And if they are, what, will that change the fee for 2020?
I'd have to get back to you on that. So there's two parts to your question. The first part is whether we can do it before the year end. My suggestion is not really. It has to do with refurbishing and the supply of those of that material. So we're working at that. There were some delays. It should have been ordered before. The Environmental Services has dealt with quite a few other issues, COVID related and landfill site capacity related. So I apologize for that. And when I got to the manager, he acknowledged that he just couldn't get it done. So I apologize for that. I will impress upon the landfill site manager to work on that. If we can get it in that period of time, we will, and I will update council.
Okay.
With respect to fee, I'd have to look at that, Your Worship, with respect to that. My understanding of this, I didn't really look at it, but it really is a standard agreement that the auditors want us to have that basically delineates the relationship between the municipality and this separate corporation. And really it is a formalization of what we're doing. And certainly whatever adjustment that is made in terms of services received, we'll also adjust. But typically, it has to do with, what we offer anyway. So.
Okay, Conseil Denis?
Madam Mayor, just a question. I thought that last year we were told that my bins for living would be there. They were imminently or presently last year being fabricated or snuffed up, because I think it comes from the old yard and they're going to put it here, but still it seems to me like it's a long time. They said May 2020 you were supposed to be refurbished. I don't know who's doing the work. So I think it's nice to blame COVID all the time, but sometimes we need to move on things. It's been the same thing with my street lights. It's incredible. It's incredible that nothing is being done for living. So
Okay, so
that's my last.
Thanks for your complaint. We'd have a solution. We'd have an answer for both of those things, but of course, there's 1,000 things that are going on, and there might be a few things that are falling through the cracks, but quite frankly.
Well, if you want to get into it, let's get into it. I don't care.
And Jay, I was going to recommend one item, like I brought up the issue. Jay, you're going to check into it. Is it realistic that it comes back to council with an update?
That's the standard answer we hear all the time.
Council that knows what's going on in the down to the grassroots in the operation too. To think that, good for you. Yeah. And
But,
that's why.
I think you know what, we can expect questions. And like I said at the beginning, I do understand the reason why it wasn't done. But I think in reality,
we can expect questions, but we can also expect a little bit of respect during these times that are not quite the same. I've got a ton of staff that are busting their tails to do a lot of things. And if I haven't satisfied one counselor.
Well, I'll tell you what, you're lucky you have a good staff, because nothing would get done.
Just a second.
Over a year for 2 lights, come on.
Just a second, we're getting off the subject matter here. The question was raised, pertaining to something that had been agreed to a certain date. Explanation provided. I think it's all of council that concurred. So at the end, providing all of council with an update of when it can be done would be greatly appreciated. And I don't
absolutely. And if you can suggest to the councillor from Ward 8 that there may be reasons if he asked and not accused, there might be some.
Well, maybe if the
excuse me, I'm not finished talking.
If the CAO would answer my emails, maybe we'd get somewhere, but the Ward 8 doesn't count for this CAO. It's unfortunate.
How many emails have you sent?
Okay, we're not getting into that debate of emails, but I think the question had been asked, there was no answer, and I think the frustration here is just to get answers, and I think if we were all on the same page, people would be happy. I mean,
I'd
know
be happy
what?
to have a conversation in a sidebar with this counselor. He's welcome to talk to me tomorrow.
You know what?
Call to order, Madam Mayor. I think that nobody has to be, nobody has to, I think we should cool off, and nobody should be providing a lecture to anybody on this one. So let's just move forward, please. Show some leadership.
Agreed.
I second that.
You know what, Councillor Dan, I'm gonna ask you to retract your words. Show some leadership. I am trying to attempt to show leadership. Show leadership when council makes a decision on an issue and that council has been waiting for months for a response because the action wasn't done. But you know what? It was duly noted and the information will come back before we create animosity and a big bomb and that we're not able to do business. So come on. Out of
You know what,
respect to everyone.
That's nice.
So, okay, so coming back to this resolution, because we haven't adopted the resolution for the agreement, are there any objection pertaining to it?
No.
None? Carried. On procède avec la prochaine.
Before moving forward, Your Worship, do we want to make a motion for an extension because we're getting very close to 9:30?
Okay, so I'm gonna ask, Councillor Yvonne's gonna be a mover. Is there a seconder to extend our curfew beyond 9:30? Councillor Dan.
Thank you very much. It is moved by Councillor Duhaime and seconded by Councillor Ravita. Be it resolved that the curfew be extended for the meeting of October the 20th, 2020.
Are there any objections? Councillor Denis? Okay, then it's carried.
Yeah, I just have a comment,
Councillor
Madam Mayor.
Ali?
I'm going to say that because
Yeah.
it's almost over. I will agree tonight, but I will not go agree every meeting depending on what we have on the agenda. So tonight, I'm okay with that. It's almost finished.
Okay, so it's carried.
It is moved by Councillor Manette and seconded by Councillor Lee Senecal, whereas tenders were requested for certain exterior improvements to the West Nipissing Recreation Centre, and whereas 4 tenders were received, and whereas the tenders have been reviewed by Perry and Perry Architects and the award being recommended herein consists of the best price meeting all specifications, and whereas council concurs with the recommendation received, be it therefore resolved that the tender for exterior improvements to the West Nipissing Recreation Centre be awarded to Vanas Building Group, Inc., having submitted the lowest quotation of $295,000 plus HST meeting all specifications.
Are there any questions or comments?
Question, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Yvonne?
To you, Madam Mayor, to Steph. Steph, when would that work start?
As soon as the contract is awarded, the contractor is ready to start. Again, this was to be processed at our last meeting, which we didn't have time to get to. So we're already incurring a bit of delays, but we're confident the work will be able to get done. So as soon as we can advise them tomorrow, if council approves, the work will begin.
Thank you.
Okay, and it's within, it conforms according to our budget.
It's an approved capital budget, yes.
Perfect. Are there other questions or comments? Carried at 50.
It is moved by Councillor Lee Senecal and seconded by Councillor Mallette, whereas quotes for the purchase of a tandem diesel one-way snowplow and combination dump body spreader truck were requested by the Public Works Department, and whereas 2 quotations were received, and whereas the quotations have been reviewed and the award being recommended herein consists of the best prices meeting all specifications, and whereas council concurs with the recommendation received, be it therefore resolved that the quotation for a new tandem diesel one-way snowplow and combination dump body spreader truck for the Public Works Department be awarded to Freightliner North Bay, having submitted the lowest quotation of $291,420, meeting all specifications.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Jade, does it comply with our capital budget for equipment replacement?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. If there's no other comments or concerns, carried. Adopted.
It is moved by Councillor Manette and seconded by Councillor Lee Senecal. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2020-58, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2019-60, being a bylaw to regulate traffic and parking in the West Nipissing municipality, shall come into force and take effect on the day it is passed.
Are there any questions or comments? None? Carried.
It is moved by Councillor Lee Senecal and seconded by Councillor Mallette. Whereas at a meeting of council held on October the 20th, 2020, Council for the West Nipissing Municipality recommended disposition of certain municipally owned lands located on the west side of Villeneuve Court. And whereas the lands described as part of Lot 5 being parts 1 and 2, 10926, as more particularly shown in hash marks on the Schedule A, must first be declared surplus by the corporation of the municipality. Be it therefore resolved that part of Lot 5 being parts 1 and 2, 36R 10926, are hereby declared as surplus.
Any questions or comments? Carried. Adopted.
It is moved by Councillor Mallette and seconded by Councillor Lee Senecal. Whereas Council for the Municipality of West Nipissing has recommended the transfer of certain municipally owned lands located, described herein, and more particularly shown on Schedule A to bylaw 2020-59. And whereas the property must first be declared surplus by the municipality, be it therefore resolved that the east 30 meters extending from Bay Street to the Sturgeon River of the property described as part of PIN number 490850207, being part of Lot 5 Concession A and part 3 and 4 on Plan 36R 14475, as in NB 103122, former Township Springer, are hereby declared surplus. And be it further resolved that bylaw 2020-59, being a bylaw to authorize the transfer of the lands for the consideration of $75,000 plus HST in the Township of Springer, shall come into force and take effect on the day it is passed.
Any questions or comments? Carried. Adopted.
It is moved by Councillor Mallette and seconded by Councillor Lee Senecal. Whereas Section 319(1) of the Municipal Act provides that Council for the municipality shall, for the purpose of relieving financial hardship, pass a bylaw for deferral or cancellation of or other relief of tax increases on property in the residential property class for owners who are or whose spouses or same-sex partners are low-income seniors or low-income persons with disabilities, as both are defined. And whereas the municipality has passed bylaw 2020-38 for this purpose, it resolved that the taxes be written off in the aggregate amount of $2,367.61 for 14 properties. Did you want me to read the rolls and the amounts, or are we okay with that?
That's good.
My recommendation would be, we all have it. We all had the opportunity to do it. If there is any questions, it would be the time. Are there any questions or concerns? None. So based on the resolution and based with the amount that's been identified, carried. Adopted.
Il est proposé par Councillor Lee Senecal, appuyé par Councillor Mallette, be it resolved that the mayor be authorized to proclaim November 1st to November 7th, 2020 as National Francophone Immigration Week, Semaine Nationale de l'Immigration Francophone in the municipality of West Nipissing.
Okay, and I just want to be able to provide an explanation because I did ask some questions when I saw the proclamation. So what happens is the coordinator, de l'Immigration Francophone de l'Ontario, had identified that we had adopted the resolution last year. And they said due to COVID, it did create a roadblock, une barrière pour procéder avec des événements qu'ils voulaient mettre en place. Mais là, ils ont dit une fois que la résolution, la proclamation est adoptée, la prochaine étape, c'est de formaliser des événements en ligne pour la région de Sudbury, Nipissing-West et la région de North Bay. Donc, I'm showing you an explanation of why the proclamation, since I had questions pertaining to COVID and the impact of promoting Francophone immigrants within our area. And if there's no objection, I'll just read the section in French. Attendu que la Semaine nationale de l'immigration francophone est célébrée dans tout le Canada avec le slogan « Ma couleur francophone » et attendu qu'en notant avec reconnaissance qu'immigration, réfugiés et citoyenneté Canada croient fermement que le fait d'attirer, d'intégrer et de maintenir sur place des immigrants francophones hors Québec contribue à améliorer la vitalité des communautés en renforçant la dualité linguistique du Canada et en augmentant la diversité au sein des communautés des provinces et des territoires. Et attendu qu'en considérant la relation qui existe entre les immigrants francophones et la vitalité de la communauté francophone et la communauté de Nipissing-Ouest en général, et attendu qu'en tenant compte de l'impact positif que les immigrants francophones ont sur la municipalité de Nipissing-Ouest. Par conséquent, Joanne Savage, mairesse de la municipalité de Nipissing-Ouest, proclame par la présente que la semaine du 1er novembre au 7 novembre 2020 est la semaine nationale de l'immigration francophone dans la municipalité de Nipissing-Ouest. Are there any questions, comments? If there's no concern,
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay.
adopté, carried.
Avant qu'on.
Je vais juste, avant de passer
C'est correct, c'est correct.
OK, ça concerne, c'est-tu en conjonction de la proclamation?
Non.
OK, merci. Je vais juste procéder vite avec une couple de commentaires en fait de rapport. C'est Small Business Week cette semaine, la semaine de la petite et la moyenne entreprise. Je tiens à féliciter nos partenaires communautaires tels que la Chambre de commerce de Nipissing-West, the Chamber of Commerce of West Nipissing. They are organizing a session on October 22nd, which is entitled Main Street Digital. If anyone wishes to participate, just send an email via the Chamber of Commerce. I see one of our corporate partners in the community, Case Alliance, l'Alliance Case Alliance, with the special project initiative d'Investir local, de appuyer nos entreprises locales et de supporter nos commerçants locaux. And they have a slogan pertaining to buy local is local capital. So it's a great initiative, and I really want to congratulate each and every one of them. On that note, there's been a lot of questions pertaining to Halloween, and I do know that there's a lot of interest, and there's individuals that do want to partake in the event and making sure that it is safe and conducive to our young ones that will be going out to trick or treat. One of the recommendations is if you need any tips on making sure that you're being due diligent, communicate with the health unit. Communiquer avec l'unité de santé. They've got great tips, even on their Facebook, on their social media page. They have a lot of information that can help out to make sure that people can enjoy the safe Halloween. Conseiller Dan, can I just finish and then I'll pass it on to you, or is it pertaining to safe Halloween?
Thank you. It's pertaining to safe Halloween. Dr. Chirico put out a note today as a news release stating that we should not encourage doing door-to-door. He feels that we've got everything under control in our area, and then that could propagate the pandemic. So if you look at Bay Today, it was in Bay today, and he did a news release also stating that he highly suggests that we do not permit our children to go door-to-door.
Thank you. Yeah, and I do know that AMO also shared some information pertaining to safe trick or treat. We may not be able to control and tell our families and friends not to go out, but if they do decide to go out, just make sure that you're being safe, protect yourself, protect your family, and protect others. On that note, just to let residents know that our emergency control group, notre comité d'urgence, we continue to meet on a weekly basis every Wednesday. On continue à se rencontrer chaque mercredi because of the evolving issue with COVID and by listening to the news and the impact, pertaining to wave 2. So people do know that all measures pertaining to protecting our staff, protecting the community, and making sure that residents are duly informed and having opportunities to be able to enjoy West Nipissing. Donc, ceci conclut le rapport pour ce soir. Mais avant de terminer notre réunion, nous devons procéder à huis clos pour 2 items. Before concluding our meeting, we need to proceed in closed session to discuss 2 items. One has to do with a position pertaining to information, which may involve discussion of an individual, and then acquisition or the issue of a project referred to as warehouser. Now I see that Consalise is still raising her hand. Consalise?
No, well, I mean, I'm reassured now because for the last, I don't know how many time, I was really concerned about Councillor Fisher because it was completely not moving, but now it's moving, so I'm reassured.
Okay.
You're doing good, Christopher, good.
Okay, so we're gonna need a mover and a seconder to be able to proceed in closed session for the 2 items identified. Consie Yvonne will be the mover, seconder. Is there a volunteer? Consie?
Fisher? It is moved by Councillor Duham and seconded by Councillor Fisher. Be it resolved that we proceed into closed meeting as authorized in Section 239(2) of the Municipal Act to discuss the following: personal matters about identifiable individuals, including municipal or local board employees, regarding a public works drain cemetery position, and proposed pending or acquisition or disposition of municipal or local of land by the municipality or local board regarding the warehouser property.
Okay, so all in favor, carried.
I just need to disconnect the live